What is up, everybody? Welcome to The Feast, episode 59, the show where you submit replays and we cast them. I am Delthius. How's it going, everybody? I am doing well. Still sick, unfortunately. I'm just having trouble shaking this cold, man, but hopefully, I feel like I'm getting better, so hopefully not too much longer. I apologize in advance if I have to take small breaks to go on a coughing fit or other being sick related nastiness, but how's it going, guys? Good to see everybody again. I apologize I had to miss last Thursday's show, I think, because I was too sick, but I'm feeling better now, good enough to do a show, so I'm excited. I've been getting a ton of submissions lately, man, so thank you so much everybody who submitted. I put a lot of replays on the docket tonight. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to all of them. Probably not, but we'll get as far as we can. I was just trying to make sure I get to everybody as best I can. Another thing I'm going to start doing in the future is I think I'm going to start prioritizing getting the European players submitted replays up first on the list. That way I know some people stay up pretty late in Europe to watch the show live, which is super awesome, and I don't want to make you guys suffer by having you like late in the show or something, so yeah, I'll try to make that adjustment. I'm pretty aware of who the European players are, but if you are a European player, if you let me know when you submit, that'd be great, and I'll try to get you a little bit higher up on the list if you decide to stay up and catch the show live. So speaking of HD Broken Wing, you didn't submit this one? I thought you submitted this one. Maybe Yaokim submitted that one. If that wasn't you, okay, so that wasn't you. I'll sneak you in. Let me see which replay you got. I'll sneak you in after a couple replays. Maybe if I have to take a little break to cough or something. Oh no! I see which one you are. Okay, yeah, you're this one. Pretty sure. So we might do that one a little bit earlier, so you don't have to stay up all night. But all right, guys, let us hop into it without any further ado. Match number 1. Okay, spawning on the right, we've got Blackmore Crest and his opponent down south. Man, I don't even like what do you even how. I'll try it once. Skvolyeks? Is that Vajshul? It's gotta be Vajshul. I don't know. I'm just gonna call him Skiv, cause I have no idea how to pronounce that. So getting into this game, let's take a look. Skiv here, running the moles and a bunch of defense. Meanwhile, Blackmore Crest does have the Badger, so maybe his main strategy is to try to get up to that Badger quickly, or he might just have it to get into the late game as needed. So taking a little bit of a look at this map, it's kind of awkward for both players. I would say it's a little more awkward for Blackmore Crest here, as Skiv does have access to an okay expansion up here. You know, it's pretty close to Blackmore's main. This expansion, I don't really know if that's going to get taken, but I'm really worried about this like really brutal ledge right outside Blackmore Crest base. I mean, Skiv could get up there with some ferrets and do some absolutely devastating damage. So that's going to be rough for Blackmore Crest to deal with, man. I'm not so sure what the answer is there. Maybe throw a couple Warrens up there and just start, you know, maybe like make this ledge your front lines, perhaps. I'm not sure, but maybe we'll see Skev abuse that. Maybe we won't. So far, nothing crazy from either player. It's just a pretty standard, you know, 8-farm tier 1 opening, and Blackmore Crest is just kind of looking around the map, maybe scratching his head, trying to decide where is the best spot to take an expansion. Now, it's going to be difficult for Blackmore Crest here to get a second base, but Skiv doesn't have lizards, right? So he's not going to have like this crazy mobility on the map to really punish these bases over the side. And really, if Blackmore Crest can get established over here, that would be very good for him, as he could basically secure all 3 of those bases. Meanwhile, Skiv really only has access to this one base, and here we go, man. Skiv is coming up here to abuse this really brutal high ground that Blackmore Crest has to deal with, and Crest actually built a couple Warrens in firing range right there, so this is going to be very difficult for him. He's trying to rally his units over, but they're simply not going to get there in time. This is pretty rough indeed for Blackmore Crest. I think what he needed to do this game, if you're faced with a situation like this, is probably just build all of your warrens up here on this high ground and try to prevent that from happening. Now, he does clean up that attack, but he took a lot of damage in the meantime. You know, he lost that tier 2 warren, lost that tier 1 warren. Yeah, now Blackmore Crest is going to go ahead and try to set up shop, you know, on this side of his base. So I like this a lot. I think this expansion is going to be difficult to take, but if Blackmore can take it, it's going to put him in a dominating spot, because then Skiv is really going to be hard-pressed for expansion options. Like, I don't really see both of these expansions being taken. It looks like Skiv is going to try, but, I mean, if that was the case, it would just become this, like, slap fight until one of these guys concedes. And the thing that Skiv does have going for him is all this natural water. That's kind of like a moat to this defense, but it's going to backfire on him a little bit as he tries to move in for this attack. Nice target fire there from Blackmore Crest, and it looks like he's going to end up winning this engagement. And I believe Skiv might have came in there with a few more squirrels, but the good target firing from Blackmore there really let him hold that off. So that puts Blackmore Crest in a good spot. He's got his second base up. He's already taking a farm here. I don't imagine he's going to go super hard on that second base, you know, because it'd be very, very risky. But, you know, throwing down 1 or 2 farms seems pretty good. And Skiv kind of realizes, okay, it's going to be very difficult for me to take that expansion right outside my main, so it looks like he's going to come over here and try to secure that kind of northwest area for himself. Let's see, Blackmore's got a lot of money. What does he decide to do with it? Maybe just throwing down a more tier 1? No, he's going to go for some skunks. A pretty good call against this heavy tier 1 army from Skiv. And meanwhile, Skiv has got some snakes out, which can do fairly well with some good micro, especially against tier 2 units. But looks like Skiv is going to all in here, building a couple moles and just going to go for it. But this is kind of a underappreciated situation. Like, Skiv's whole army had to move into this position, but you know what? Since Blackmore Crest kind of took that early damage earlier on and invested so much money into this second base, Skiv ends up taking that engagement anyways and takes the game. Okay, let's hop into the second game of the nights. I'm going to try to go fast, man. I'm going to keep the chatter to a minimum so we can get to as many as possible. All right, spawning on the left, we've got Tau. And his opponent to the right, Amistria. Amistria has been rocking this composition pretty frequently often, I feel like. Now, granted, this replay is a couple weeks old. Typically what I try to do when I put a show together is I try to get, first and foremost, to try to prioritize as many unique submitters as possible. And then I also kind of have, like, my new submissions and then my backlog. So I kind of try to grab at least a few from the backlog. That way they just don't get ignored as new submissions come in. You should open up here with a 5-farm Warren, and this is actually a great map to do so. It's a pretty small rush distance, and Tau is going for that 8-farm opening. Now, Tau needs to come back, sell off a couple farms, and build a Warren immediately. And if he holds this right, he should be fine. But I like this from Amistria. She almost, like, faked him out a little bit. Oh, well, I was going to say maybe it's just a safe Warren, but she's not really screwing around on her economy too much. You know, building up some early units, but also not neglecting those farms. And that makes sense, as she did scout that Tau, you know, went for some tier 1 before all 8 of his own farms. So now it's kind of this balancing act where it's like, well, I don't really want to sell my Warrens because then my opponent could come in and just run over me. Really what you want to do is try to stay like 1 farm ahead of your opponent. But Lizard against Squirrel Toad here, that typically favors the Squirrel Toad player. But once Amistria does recognize the opponent has Lizards, she can go into more and more Squirrel production. And I think it's actually pretty smart, if you do have that Squizzard composition, you're going against Squirrel Toad, to still keep like maybe 3 or 6 Lizards in the mix. That way they can kind of run out and be gladly sacrificed and soak up those Toad hits, right? Because Toad hits on your Squirrels are still a pretty big deal. So now she's going to recognize the Toads are out for her opponent, and I'm interested to see how she decides to respond to that. She also noticed that Tau is going for a pretty quick expansion. But Tao is not going to give her a chance to react. He's going to move in, but he loses his commander. Oh, okay, but luckily for him, he didn't rally his forces all the way. So they do stop in time. I was going to say that could have been really bad for Tao, man, because those toads would have just exploded on the Warrens, and then Amicia's lizards probably could have ran over Tao's army from there. Tao placing that, or Amicia placing that tier 2 Warren pretty far forward. That's kind of risky, but those toad hits are absolutely incredible for Tao here. Yeah, she's got to sell that tier 2. I think with Defender's advantage, she should hold this. Gonna maybe lose a Warren or two. Tries to throw up some barbed wire to soak up some damage here. Actually, very nice hold from Amicia there. Doesn't end up losing a Warren at all. And now she's got some squirrels out. I wonder if she sells off a little bit of this barbed wire. I wouldn't mind, yeah, keeping a bit of it. But this barbed wire is going to be pretty useful for Amicia once she takes this second base. And, you know, can maybe put a little bit right here. Maybe, you know, put a couple pieces there. I always feel like with barbed wire, like, less is more. You know, you don't want to go super crazy and try to draw this line with, like, 20 pieces of barbed wire. You know, if you can kind of make good use out of just a couple pieces, it feels really powerful. So here we go. Amicia is moving in for the engagement. She's moving these lizards up forward to take the toad hits, and now it's just going to be squirrel versus squirrel, with Amicia having more squirrels than her opponent. Tao got a little bit greedy this game. You know, he invested a lot onto that second base. He tried throwing down all this tier 2, and Amicia is just going to run in here and punish him for it. He realizes he's in hot water, though. I think he did sell off. Did he? I kind of got distracted. I'm not sure if he actually lost those tier 2 Warrens or if he sold them. But either way, Amicia's got a lot of momentum, but she might be overextending just a little bit. This should be okay as long as she keeps trading with her opponent and doesn't lose this Falcon. Really doesn't want to lose the Falcon here. And the Falcon, it does go down. She was almost in position to start dragging it back, so good defense from Tao, but he did take some damage. But now that it's all kind of said and done for the moment, he does have this eco advantage, but he's really got to get some more Warrens down quickly. He's, again, trying to go for this tier 3, but Amicia is not going to give him the breathing room to do so. Moving in again, trying to get these lizards to soak those toad hits. Nice toad engagement there for Tao. And I think this attack should get deflected yet again. Oh, needs to be careful. Target that toad down. It gets off, and another Falcon dies as well. Alright, 1 second, guys. My cat is freaking out. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, guys. Alright, so Amicia is just kind of bludgeoning her way to her opponent's second base. Almost has it down, really committing. Does get it. That's a huge pickoff. But if Tao can hold and stabilize, I feel like he's still in a better spot since he was mining off those bases. And it looks like, judging from the amount of wheat left, they did pay for themselves. Amicia's really got to get her own second base going, and sure enough she does. She takes the safer base that she has available towards her. And, yeah, let's see how this game stabilizes. Like, Tao really wants to get to this tier 2, but every time he tries, Amicia just pounces on him, man. And so far, Amicia hasn't, I mean, besides trying to take that Falcon Warren earlier on, she really hasn't tried to get up to a tier 2 quite yet, but she's got to get her economy going at this point, man. Throws down a farm. Probably once that is finished queued, I'd like to see her maybe queue up another one. Sells off a couple of units just to get that economy going a little bit faster. I like that too, replacing the Warren. That's going to allow the farm to go from being queued to starting production immediately, and then also net 60 food for the time being to spend on another farm. So, hey, thanks for the follow, Cookie of Nutrition. I appreciate it, man. Alright, looks like Amicia is ready to move forward yet again. I like that Tao hasn't gone super crazy on the toads. I think toads are really powerful in high numbers later on when you can afford it, but nice target fire here from Amicia and Tao. Both of them are doing a great job, and it looks like Tao is going to take this engagement. And now Tao's getting up to these ferrets, which are going to be fantastic against squirrels. It kind of puts Amicia in a rough spot because, like, ferrets are kind of weak against lizards, right? But he's got the toads to buffer against the lizards. But if Amicia could somehow, some way, take this into the late game, she is going to have that tier 3 advantage over Tao, as Tao is opting for this more cavalcade of tier 2 style with the 3 tier 2 picks instead of a tier 3. But I feel like Tao's composition is actually pretty well rounded for a heavy tier 2. playstyle, because the snakes are going to do well against tier 3 units, and the falcon is a nice unit that kind of en masse can fill that late game void if we get there. But yeah, overall, I think I would favor Tao's position in this game, especially as he's now going to have the more technologically advanced army. Economies are relatively similar, but keep in mind Tao did have a better economy earlier on. Granted, he did suffer heavy losses when Amicia took out that gristmill, but I feel like this game could go either way. But as I say that, those toe connections are phenomenal, and now Tao is just in a dominating position. And I don't really think there's a whole lot Amicia can do from here. Yeah, for the sake of time, I'm going to fast forward. I'm pretty sure Tao wins from here. It was nice trying to barbed wire tank here, but I don't think it's going to be enough with the changes to buildings. You know, no longer continuing their HP production while under fire. It's just going to be too much. Amicia is going to hang on for as long as she can. But overall, Tao is going to take the match. Really cool game. I thought it was pretty back and forth. Okay, I'm going to skip ahead to this match, just because, like I said, I am going to try to prioritize getting to these European guys. I actually might, you know, yeah, we might do the free-for-all, and we might do the gentleman match, because I know both those guys are European. But I think from now on, I'm going to try to consider time zone when I make the lists, just so people who stay up late in Europe to watch the show don't have to stay up too late. So here we go, guys. Okay, spawning in the bottom, we've got AC Broken Wing. And spawning to the right, we've got Pletz Loyotol. Reminds me of like a dinosaur name or something. Up top, we've got Insane Jester. And to the left, we've got Ents. This is a 4-player free-for-all. And lots of gristmills on this map. It looks like all players will have access to an easy second base. But after that, it's going to be pretty rough for Ent. Now, he's kind of got these campfires to help you know, buffer him into the mid game. But really, HD might, yeah, I think HD's got the best spawn here. Oh, a little bit of mole aggression coming in from Pletz. Nice response from Ace, though, building those turrets, canceling the farm. Takes a little bit of damage, but the pig is going to go down, but let's see if he can get this mole out of here. It's going to be close. Oh, my God. That mole just barely lives. Nice aggression there from Pletz, but I think it was pretty well handled by Ace. He did lose a farm, but he also killed a mole in the process. And this mole that lives is still a money sink here for Pletz. It's going to slow down his early game economy. Look at this. He's building an early pigeon to try to heal this mole. Because I was going to say, like, you know, he's got to wait for this mole to regenerate its HP all the way up until he can sell it for that full refund. I don't know if the pigeon is really going to speed things up, but it's a nice cheeky play. I like seeing things like that, trying to get creative, you know, solve this problem. Yeah, there we go. So the pigeon's going to heal that mole up a little bit faster. But that does put Pletz's economy behind a bit compared to, you know, if he would have just made some more farms. And obviously that pigeon's not really going to help him in the early game. But I think he's just kind of banking on not taking too much damage here for a couple minutes. You know, he kind of hit AC pretty hard. So you're probably not expecting a push from him, and I guess he just assumes maybe Insane Jester and Ent are a little bit too far away, and it looks like Insane Jester and Ent have been gearing up to kind of go toe-to-toe with each other, so we'll have to see how that plays out. We've got a good variety of tier 3 in this game. You know, Ace has taken that Fox, Pletz and Ent both have the Badger, and Jester's got the Wolf. Fast expansion here from HD. I think that's pretty smart in free-for-all as long as you can get away with it. You know, typically the player in a free-for-all that's going to get ahead is the guy who can kind of stay out of the action, macro up, and let the other players kind of kill each other, you know, while they're just gaining more and more value. Because, I mean, rebuilding units as they get lost, like, really slows down your overall advancement into, you know, more and more Warrens, a higher economy, better units. Nice little strike force from Insane Jester. Was about to pick up that gristmill, but Pletz canceled it just in time. Now Jester's running around, see what he can get done, but Ent, ooh, nice defense from there. Ent for there. I was worried because he's throwing down this tier 3 war, and as Insane Jester seen it, he has, and he's gonna jump right on top of it, knock out that Badger, a huge blow. for Int there. He's going to lose a lot of his lizards in the process, but as long as he doesn't get immediately counterattacked, I feel like Insane Jester's probably okay with that trade. And poor Int over here, also starting to take some fire from HD Broken Wing. But HD decides to back up for now. Keep the skunks at home to defend this. Look at this, man. Full farm, full 8 farm saturation on second base already at the 330 mark. And Pletz! Oh my god. That's amazing. Like, I don't think this amount of barbed wire is, like, competitive, but it's so fun to see. And you know what? It might actually work here for Pletz. Like, it's a really big investment building all that barbed wire. 300 food, but, I mean, if 300 food keeps your opponents away, right? Like, if I'm Insane Jester, I look at this barbed wire, I'm like, nope, I'm going to go harass blue or green, right? Like, that could work out in the favor of Pletz pretty hard. But Pletz, man, he's all over the place. He's building a ton of barbed wire. He's building a bunch of bases. Now he's harassing with these moles. Are these skunks going to live? 3 HP, 1 HP, goes down. And he's also getting a badger on the back of it. Ooh, what happened? Oh, man, Insane Jester snuck through the openings in the barbed wire. And is he just going to knock out? No. Insane Jester is the bane of Tier 3 this game. He uses his lizards to take out a quick badger net, quick Tier 3 from 2 opponents. Yeah, they were both badger nests. Int with a nice little bit of aggression denying that expansion from Insane Jester, man. I don't know who I like better in this game, like Insane Jester or Pletz, man. They're both just doing crazy stuff, but I guess Pletz, like I like that he left gaps in here to make this more inexpensive, but it really bit him there. You know, as Insane Jester was like, okay, yeah, you've got all this barbed wire, but I'll just run through, you know, one of these gaps right here, get in your base anyways. Look at all these skunks from AC Broken Wing, man. Going up to 6 skunks. He's actually not built any Tier 1 at all this game, I don't think. Maybe he had like a Tier 1 warrant earlier on, but then sold it. So Skunk Falcon style, man. Pretty interesting. You got the skunks on the front lines, you know, buffer some damage, you know, really do a ton of work to Tier 1 units. Like, look at this, man. Even with these pigeons, these squirrels are going to take so much damage trying to advance in against the skunks. And then he's going to have these falcons on the back to really bring the punch. And then a fox later on really pressure his opponents and kind of force them to engage. Gonna move in here. Poor Int, man. He's doing what he can. He's trying to survive behind a couple balloons and a little bit of an expansion, but income-wise, AC is definitely ahead with Pletz following up and Insane and Int in the back. Insane Jester is just being a scourge this game, man. Nothing but lizards. Really getting into his opponent's bases, knocking out those key warrens, and just being a nuisance. But this is where the game is really going to start getting in the favor of AC, I feel like, as he's going to have access to this third base. It's not like super free, and there's this ledge that's annoying. But you definitely can't complain with AC spawn here. And look at that, man. Full saturation, 8 farms on the third. Now, I feel like Pletz does have nice access to a third as well on this double high ground. It's pretty close to AC Broken Wing, but with the double high ground, that should help. He's got the badger with a few pigeons to help heal it. But man, what a creative composition here from AC Broken Wing. That's going to be rough to attack into. As long as his micro is good, and he doesn't let those falcons get ahead of the skunks, right? Like, you really want to make sure with this kind of style that the skunks are the one taking the damage. Badger's going to come in here and poke down these turrets. But AC gets his army in position. But here we go, another big lizard run by. They're taking a lot of damage from that barbed wire on the way in. He's going to get this gristmill, but lose everything for it. And that puts Pletz in a terrible situation, man. He's down to 1 farm. Really all he's got is this badger and pigeon. He's going to counterattack yellow up top, but in the meantime, we've got a big engagement down south from Ace. Trying to hop in on Int. Overall, though, Int holds and maintains his expansion for now. But in the north, the badger denies this expansion from Insane Jester yet again. And Insane Jester and Pletz are just really both hurting on their economy now. All right, Pletz looking to move out. He's got a nice army composition, but It's a pretty small army. There's not a whole lot to it. But it's enough to kind of muscle out on the map and maybe deter his opponents from attacking in. Looks like Plet's going to tech switch out of a few of those pigeons. But in the meantime, Ace is going to come in on Ent yet again. And oh, just needs to finish that off. Does end up getting it. Now Ent's in hot water here. Does have a lot of ferrets, but that's really not what you want to fight this composition. So much skunk gas raining in. He needs to target down the balloon. He sure enough does. And Insane Jester with the lizards up top as well. Insane Jester is looking for the knockout punch on Ent, but he's got a couple campfires left. It looks like Insane Jester will be knocking Ent out of this game here shortly. Ent is desperately trying to find another gristmill or campfire he can take. And it looks like we'll have our first player eliminated 9 minutes into this free-for-all. As HD has now got Pletz in his sights as the next target. Alright, so what's Pletz trying to do? I saw that, oh, okay, so it looks like he just kind of sold off some of his pigeons to get his economy going again. And then rebuilt a few of those pigeon wards after. He's got some money, though, so I'd like to see what he wants to do with it. I wouldn't be opposed to taking this third base, maybe selling off some of this barbed wire right here and trying to stretch that out in front of the third. But if HD is vigilant, he can continue to deny this expansion from Pletz, which should inevitably lead to his death in this game here. Insane Jester, man. Insane has gotten so much damage done this game, but he might be the next player eliminated here, I feel like, as his economy is wavering down, and he's trying to get what he can. Only 9 lizards to his name. Another expansion here for HD Broken Wing. Look at this income graph all game long. Alright, so we might be in a bit of a standstill. I'm going to fast forward for the sake of time because I want to get to as many submissions as possible tonight. We are almost at the 10-minute, 30-second mark of this game. And Insane Jester needs to get something done to stay alive. He doesn't have a whole lot of expansion options. Like, he can maybe try to come down here and try to take this base. But this base is already mined out a little bit by Ent, but I still think it would be worth it if he could possibly get that. But all HD's got to do at this point is deny Insane Jester or Pletz from taking any more bases, right? Like, his economy is just bumping at this point. And if he can stay on top with his scouting and just kind of keep an eye on this base and on this base, and look at this, right when Pletz tries to take it, HD pounces, denies the base. It says, try to fight me, you might lose that Badger. Badger's gonna go down. And that's really all Pletz has. But Pletz still has a healthy economy. A hole has been breached in this barbed wire here. HD could move in for the kill, but he wants to play it safe for now. I was thinking maybe he waits for his army to kind of heal up, but he moves in, and he's looking, he smells blood in the water, and he's looking to knock Pletz out of this game. Pletz getting rid of all his barbed wire. Let's see the million moles. He's got so much money. Pletz is like, okay, man, I'm not going to win this game, but maybe I can get position number 2. Man, everybody is just stabbing everyone in the back right now. Insane Jester jumps on the opportunity to get ace, and that's going to allow Pletz to stay in the game for even longer. He might actually be able to kill both these gristmills in time with all these moles. Insane Jester's attack does get cleaned up by HD. Does some decent damage in the meantime. And that's going to be it for Insane Jester. Well done from Pletz, man. Securing himself a second place in this game. And, okay, I was going to say, does he just tap out or does he give us a show, man? I think he's coming over here to give us a show. He's gonna try with these wolves, man. He should get a gristmill, but he's definitely not gonna get all 4 of them, as 12 falcons in the air are gonna mow down all these moles pretty quickly. And from there, let's see, Pletz is not tapping out. He's gonna try to build some more desperation moles because, hey, why not? But HD is on top of this, gonna clean it up and take the victory. Oh, you scared me in the chat, HD, saying stream lag. I think it's on your side. I don't have any drop frames. Okay. Okay, we got gentlemen in the house. Gentlemen, I believe you submitted this one, correct? I think that's correct. I think that's correct. So I want to, like I said, guys, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I am going to try to prioritize my European fans so they don't have to stay up till 4 in the morning. They only got to stay up till 2. So let's hop into this gentleman game, guys, and then I think from there we'll just take it back in the normal order. Okay, spawning to the left, we've got Prim Cyanide Kerpa, and his opponent to the right, the gentleman. That could be a Kerpa Smurf, but it's not a very sneaky Smurf name, as it does include Kerpa in the name, but maybe it's somebody else going under that Kerpa alias. Oh, it's James Bowring, says Dingo Dancing. Interesting. Maybe he's just trying to troll Kerpa or something. I have no idea. So I'm excited for this match. James Bowring versus the gentleman. Pretty high level. And I want to see where we get going in this game. Gentleman's kind of got this strategy that's been pretty meta as of late, with this like squirrel, skunk, owl, balloon combo. I feel like the other 2 units in the deck are kind of like pick your poison, you know, whatever you like. I think ferrets make sense in it, but falcon lizard is just fine. The gentleman is really known for his lizard play, and James Bowring, or Prem Cyanide Kerpa, is actually going for a bit of aggression. But the gentleman scattered it out, responded correctly. Aggression can be difficult nowadays in Tooth and Tail. I don't necessarily think it's a balance issue. I just feel like it's mapped out. And you see that in any RTS game. Like, StarCraft is a perfect example. You know, when like a new expansion or something comes out, you'll see a lot of cheese, a lot of aggression. And when Tooth and Tail launched, we also saw a lot of aggression, a lot of cheese. But as players get better and better at holding it, that kind of slowly gets out of the meta. Like, if you're a big StarCraft fan, you might wonder why like top level Korean players don't really go for like crazy all-in cheese strategies too often. They do mix it in every now and then when you're playing like a best of 3 or a best of 5. It does make sense to mix in some aggression, but overall it's just like if my opponent responds correctly to it, then they're going to be in such an advantage. But look at this, a gentleman is a bit cocky here. He decides to go for more Warrens rather than getting those additional farms, which is kind of more of the standard of what you see. He needs to be careful not to lose his commander. His commander goes down. If he didn't lose the commander, this could have been a better attack, but I still feel like Cyanide here would have held it regardless. But makes it even worse for the gentleman, because if his commander didn't die, the gentleman could have kind of tapped out on that engagement a little bit earlier and kept more units alive. But yeah, this kind of like squirrel, skunk, owl, balloon build. You know, the idea is to kind of maybe eco up. This is a nice map for the gentleman to try to do this as well. He can take this second base, you know, throw up a balloon that can kind of cover both expansions. And then it's like, well, what's the answer to a balloon? Well, a lot of tier 1. Okay, well, I got skunks, right? And then it makes it difficult for your opponent to attack into your position. And then from there, you can kind of macro up real hard, get a big economy, and go into some owls. And meanwhile, Cyanide is just kind of playing, you know, a traditional build. I don't think there's anything super crazy about what he's doing. You know, he's got he's got like a nice selection of good units here. He's trying to get up to that Squizzard combo. You know, chameleons give you that nice flank attack option. Skunks are pretty high in the meta at the moment because tier 1 units are so prevalent. And then he's got the Fox to round things out with. And Fox is a really cool unit because if your opponent isn't prepared for it, you can kind of just get the victory right then and there. And even if they are, if you micro it correctly, you can get a lot of value with it throughout the game. But it's not going to pack as much punch as a tier 3 unit, you know, like an owl or a boar perhaps. Alright, so we're getting these economy going. I like this from the gentleman too. He decided he doesn't really need a balloon here because he scouted, alright, my opponent is going for economy. My opponent threw down a turret. And typically a good rule of thumb is if you scout your opponent building defensive structures, you can usually get away with not building those yourself. Now, he does eventually throw this balloon down, but it's much later than normal. Which is nice for the gentleman as it allowed him to get out a couple more farms a little faster. But upon scouting this balloon, Cyanide Kerp is going to move in and try to hit the gentleman hard and heavy before the balloon gets up. The balloon does get up, and from here, the gentleman should be able to hold this attack. But he took a little bit of damage there. I think a Warren went down. They traded fairly evenly, it felt like. I could be wrong. And the campfire also went down, so overall, an okay engagement here. But Gentleman does have a stronger economy. But as long as Cyanide stays on top of his own economy, his economy's not that far behind. Only 3 farms, if you include the campfire. And really, if Cyanide Kerpa can stay into this game, I feel like the map will favor him going into the late game, as these expansions might be a bit easier for him to take. But granted, this is kind of a winner-takes-all scenario in this top portion of the map. I feel like whoever gets any of these gristmills is in a good shape to take all of these gristmills. So we'll have to see who goes for it. Looks like Cyanide Kerpa is going to go for it first. So we're at the 5-minute 30-second mark. I believe the 5th says, wow, this is greedy, expanding before 5 minutes. The expansions were a little bit greedy, but you do want to expand, I think, typically. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, the gentleman, but like a very standard expansion timing is probably somewhere between like 2:45 to 3:30, I want to say. That way you can get up a few farms on your expansion, right around the 5-minute mark as your farms start mining out in the main base. I typically consider something an expansion that's like before the 2-minute 30-second mark greedy. But an expansion after that seems okay. It just depends on what your opponent's doing. And also how many farms you took. Now granted, they did macro up on their expansions pretty heavily. But it's kind of this situation where you want to match your opponent. I mean, you kind of have 2 options if you see your opponent is going for a very fast second base with a lot of farms on it. You can just try to swing in and catch them with their pants down a little bit where they don't have as big of an army as you. Or you can just try to match that greed and be just a little bit greedier. Now, I think the tier 3 was scouted by the gentleman, so he knows a fox is... Oh, no, wow, it wasn't. I thought he did. So actually, Cyanide Kerpa here does have the scout on the tier 3. And I think at this point, he might have actually visibly seen that the owl is out. But man, the gentleman got 2 owls already, a 3rd one on the way. This is going to be very brutal for Cyanide Kerpa in this game. The middle is fine, farms are risky. Yeah, I agree. If you're going to take more than like 2 or 3 farms, that's pretty greedy for sure. So Cyanide Kerpa recognizes that with this army composition the gentleman's putting together, he wants to strike sooner than later, but the gentleman absolutely runs over the army of Cyanide Kerpa here. The fox is out, but it's rough to fight the owl as a fox. Now, it's not impossible. You can kind of sneak in if you get the right angle, a couple shots on those owls and knock them out, but, just left up to its own accord, a lot of these mice here are going to get targeted down by Kasha, and obviously that's not very good value. Now, the turret damage was nerfed, but I've been traditionally a fox player, and I remember back like months and months ago when owls were pretty big in the meta, the way I would respond was just like a wall of turrets to try to help buffer against the mice. And then if you get like a critical mass of turrets that can start mowing down the mice without taking, much damage. Yeah, we do see Cyanide Kerpa building a few turrets here, and Gentleman's in a great spot, but if Cyanide can, like I was saying earlier, man, these 4 gristmills up top, it's kind of like I don't see both players taking bases up there, you know what I mean? So if Cyanide Kerpa can just stay alive, kind of mend the bleeding here and just get the superior economy going, he might be able to afford these poor trades. I'd like to see a few more turrets get built into the mix, but overall, it looks like Cyanide is starting to be able to deal with these mice without bleeding out too many units here, but it's just going to get worse and worse, man. The gentleman is getting up to 5 owls, but the gentleman is mining out shortly, and it's going to be hard for the gentleman to take another base. So, again, man, I feel like on paper, the gentleman wins this hands down, but if enough turrets can get out here from Cyanide, if Cyanide can really, you know, be the one with the third and fourth bases here, eventually the gentleman is going to mine out. But this is what I'm talking about. He's starting to get that turret count up higher. You know, he really didn't lose a whole lot there. This one turret almost died. And maybe he lost a squirrel or two, but that's really it. He's even kind of using the Kasha to try to keep this mice number down. Doesn't even mind taking a couple hits on the fox as long as it stays alive. No big deal. And just getting up to a ton of squirrels here. Ooh, the turret wall seems to still be holding strong. This is a nice response here from Cyanide Kerpa to deal with the gentleman's strategy, but the gentleman is now starting to mine out. I don't know if the gentleman is maybe just going to try to find a different attack angle, but really that's hard. Like, gentleman could try to swing down this way and get in there, but then he'd leave his base completely exposed. If Cyanide Kerpa hopped on top of that, he could maybe knock the gentleman out beforehand. So many mice here from the gentleman, though, from 5 owls, and it's starting to breach the lines here for Cyanide Kerpa. Some real damage is starting to get done, but overall, Cyanide is still in this game. He's holding strong for the time being, but I don't know if he can survive too many more of these waves. The gentleman prevents starvation by taking that campfire that was knocked out earlier. I guess he's been saving that just specifically for this situation. Gentleman's going to get a read on exactly how strong Cyanide's economy is. He shouldn't be too disappointed with that. Like, Cyanide, you know, it basically has a saturated up third base, but he doesn't have a fourth or a fifth or anything crazy like that. And I don't think Cyanide's going to be able to handle this constant onslaught. You know, that last big engagement from the gentleman really did some decent damage to Cyanide. Didn't knock him out, but it's like, how many more waves can you really take like that? Let's find out. Another wave coming in. Let's see what dies for Cyanide here. It looks like a couple squirrels are going down. If the skunk stays alive, that's not the end of the world. So Cyanide's still in it. Skunk lived. He's going to get a second skunk soon. I'd love to see him take a fourth base, but it is very difficult in this situation. I think he's just been kind of hoping that gentleman will starve, but that, you know, he kind of kept that campfire to give him a few more minutes into this game. And that might be all he needs with this constant onslaught of free units from these 5 owls. We're a little bit over the 12-minute mark at this point. Yeah, the gentleman is just trying to rinse and repeat, man. You know, he's not losing anything. If Cyanide can sneak over here, ooh, love this little lizard flank. Should get a lot of damage done, as Cyanide really can't afford to move his army out of position. Yeah, I think he should have just came over here with the fox. He moves everything out of position. Beautiful flank attack there from the gentleman. It's exactly what he needs for these mice to be able to get past the turret and start getting onto these units and doing some real damage to Cyanide in this game. And the fox is gonna die, maybe? No, he gets it out with some decent micro. But the rest of Cyanide Kerpa's base is under attack. And the gentleman might just have too much damage done here. Pretty cool match. All right. I'm gonna mute my mic and cough a whole bunch real quick. Okay, I think we maybe got it. Oh, wait. Man, I've been sick for like 3 weeks. I feel like I'm almost over it, though. Just gotta make sure I can breathe properly. Alright. Okay, so where are we at in the regular order? Like I said, I did want to try to prioritize European viewers. I don't know all of you guys. I can guess on some. Like, I think Vincent might be European. I don't know if he stays up to actually watch the show live, though. So if you could, I think I am going to start doing that, guys. So if you are European, you watch the show live, let me know in their email with the replay in it, and I'll try to prioritize getting you in quickly. So let's hop into match number 4 here. Okay, spawning in the right, we've got Blackmore Crest. And his opponent to the left, KSR Division Commander, aka Gabany. Okay. Let me make sure. Okay, I was just making sure I unmuted my microphone. So, balloons from both players. That's pretty standard. Balloon's pretty strong right now. We're kind of investigating possible changes to the balloon. There's a patch live on the PTR. If you guys want to play around with that and see what you think, please do. By the way, PTR testing is really important. We get a lot of cool ideas for balanced concepts, but you really never know until you get out in the field and you try it. And just bulk amounts of PTR data is always a huge. I'm sure Massive Stealth would love you to dump his inbox with PTR replays. So, anyways, guys, Fox vs. Wolf. If we get there, 8 farm openings for the time being. Both players have access to pretty decent second bases. I like Blackmore Crest's position a bit better, being up here on this high ground. And actually, Blackmore Crest is a beautiful spawn. He's only got 1 entrance on this map to 3 bases and 2 campfires. And meanwhile, Gabany isn't boned on this map. He's got a nice expansion nearby, and then he's got a 3rd and a 4th up top. It's not as kind of crisp and clean and as Blackmore's is, but it's certainly nothing you can complain about. So, not only that, but Blackmore Crest doesn't have those lizards, which can really abuse a player who's kind of got some spread out bases like Gabany does, if we end up getting into that late game. But so far, pretty mirror openings. The only exception is that Blackmore Crest is going to go ahead and grab that campfire. That's a nice advantage for him. Now, Gabany is aware of that. He did scout that out. So I'm interested to see how you respond. I think a good response to an opponent with a fast campfire is taking a fast expansion and putting 2 farms on it. You do have to invest a little bit more, but you get 1 farm ahead in economy. You really can't underestimate. Campfire is kind of really interesting because, like, in 1 base situations like this, I mean, it's a huge deal. I mean, look at that income graph. But it matters less and less as the game goes on, if that makes sense. Blackmore Crest is actually going to take both of these campfires, and there's not going to be a whole lot that Gabany could do about it. It looks like he might try to just all in, saying, okay, my opponent has built 120 food worth of economy. I have not, so therefore I have more units. But there's a window for that, because eventually those campfires will go from risk to reward, and Blackmore Crest will end up with a bigger army. But I don't think you have to attack, and this is going to be a rough attack if Blackmore kind of micros his squirrels back into the Warrens a little bit. Here we go. Gabany's going to move in. Squizzer does beat just pure squirrel on paper, and Gabany does take a nice engagement here. It pushes forward against Blackmore Crest. Starts to get some damage done. Is he going to overextend, though? The defender's advantage will kick in for Blackmore Crest, as he'll be able to rally units faster, as well as have these structures to help tank some damage. So Gabany moves out, backs out before he overextends. Nice play there from Gabany. Yeah, he's going to go ahead and take his own Gristmill. Don't feel like you have to super all in if your opponent does get a quick campfire. I don't think it's a bad idea to try to just get a fast expansion under that circumstance. Now, Blackmore Crest did take some damage there, but he's not down and out. The 2 campfires cooking really allowed him to kind of get back on his feet pretty quickly. I feel like that could have been handled better by Blackmore Crest, though. I feel like if he would have pulled his squirrels back into the Warren line, he would have handled that fight a lot better, as the lizards are going to do great, in a upfront engagement. Where they've got room to spread out, but once you start getting those Warrens into the equation and that AI kind of starts targeting those Warrens a little bit, the lizards are much less effective. Gabany going to go pretty hard on this second base. I don't mind that. I feel like another advantage of that big push that Gabany did, yeah, he didn't do game-ending damage, but he traded well. I think overall, Gabany won that fight, as you can see by the army graph. But you also kind of get in your opponent's head. Like, a lot of times if you move in and you take a good fight, your opponent might be wary to move out against you. And then on the back end of winning a nice little engagement, even if you didn't win it like super hard and do critical damage or anything, you can be greedy. Not necessarily because you could afford to, per se, but just because the mental aspect of it. Like, after you just kind of got rocked, you're less likely to move out. Now look at this. Like, earlier on, Blackmore Crest was going to go hard on building a bunch of farms, but sold those farms off and built a balloon instead. So he is a little bit scared here. And he hasn't even scouted the second base from Gabany, which is going up to full saturation. But now Blackmore Crest is in a good spot. It's going to be hard for Gabany to attack up into this position. That's a beautiful balloon placement there. It's going to give Blackmore Crest... I think people really underemphasize... I mean, like, look at the vision that balloon gives you. That's so huge, because I feel like in Tooth and Tail, positioning is so important, man. Because you don't have a lot of time to respond. You know, especially, I mean, it happens to me all the time, man. I'll be out on the map with my commander. My army might not be in the right position, and my opponent just attacks in. And it almost tilts you, because you're just like, dude, if I wasn't out on the map, right, if I was at home, then I wouldn't have lost that fight, or at least would have gotten even, or might not have got totally crippled. And that's just how important positioning is. But with the range, I mean, look at that vision, man. Like, imagine Blackmore Crest is down here macroing up, and then he could just see on the minimap, oh, things are coming in, you know, burrow to this gristmill and get his army in position. Gabany's going to take his own balloon and get to work on these northern expansions. And we might be heading into a macro game here. We're at the 6-minute 30 mark, and neither player has really, you know, done game-ending damage to one another. As we're starting to move, like, from the mid-game into the late game. A lot of Falcons here for Blackmore Crest. I wonder why he decided to not go for the Fox. Maybe just because he didn't want to take the risk and give Gabany a window where Gabany could possibly move in and abuse that 360 food being wrapped up in something not directly on the field. But now this balloon also kind of dissuades the use of the Fox. But I wouldn't, like, as a Fox player myself, like, just because I see a single balloon, that wouldn't stop me from building a Fox. Like, the Fox would still be useful in these situations. You know, you micro it up here, you know, try to poke and prod, and really try to force your opponent to plug up, like, any possible hole and spend additional money on defensive structures than they normally would. And then also the Fox is not going to be terrible in direct engagements or while defending. Okay, so I'm going to fast forward a little bit as we're kind of in a bit of a lull this game. Blackmore Crest identifies Gabany. He's going for a third base, but Blackmore Crest, man, went super hard on his third base, so his economy is ahead. Gabany, it really is not going to get the opportunity to scout much more often. He did get in and scout earlier and see that Blackmore was, you know, building, you know, at least half saturation on that third base, so I like to see Gabany really invest into a lot of farms on that second base from here. And he's got a lot of lizards in this composition. Like a crazy amount of lizards, man. I'm not so sure what I think of that. I guess it's pretty good. So let's see where these guys want to take it. I will fast forward a bit more. Lots of balloons going down here from Gabany. This is going to get brutal for Blackmore Crest, as you know, this balloon wall is just going to eventually be harder and harder to deal with. But if Blackmore Crest could, like, move, and this is what I was talking about with positioning, like, I feel like Blackmore Crest just missed a tiny window of opportunity there, as while Gabany was scouting, his army's not in position, he could have ran up here, tried to knock out a balloon or two. Oh god, Crest is building a ton of balloons himself. But still, you know, if we split the map like this, Gabany will have access to that fourth base. And he's going to have the Wolf, which is going to be a better Tier 3 unit than the Fox in this kind of situation. So we're 10 minutes in now, guys. Lots of balloons. Neither player really wants to attack in. Dude, so many balloons. The Fox is coming up now, but there are just so many balloons here, man. It's going to be really rough for that Fox to get in. Now, granted, actually, you know what? I do like the Fox because It's going to prevent Gabany from really taking this 4th base unless he can get a balloon like up here in that corner. Because now with the vision, the high ground vision, Blackmore Crest has with these balloons, he can sneak this fox to go over by the campfire and pew pew down some pigs and try to stay out of that balloon fire as much as he can. But yeah, I mean, overall, Blackmore Crest can use the fox to try to prevent that 4th base from getting fully saturated, but in the end, Gabany will have the better economy here. Yeah, that balloon goes down. That's going to seal up this 4th base nicely. If I was Blackmore, I would really try to prevent that. Yeah, I would even just keep those. Oh, nice. The ferret's actually in range there. Gonna deny that 4th, so you know what? As long as Blackmore Crest is vigilant, just with his ferrets, like I didn't even think about the ferrets when I was talking about poking out with a fox. Like, why bother with the fox when the ferrets will get the job done? So many lizards here from Gabany, though. He's slowly just tech switching into more and more lizards. 66 lizards at the moment and counting. This is an interesting strategy. You know what? I don't hate it. Like, balloons are not good against tier 1, right? So, how do you break a bunch of balloons? Maybe a bunch of tier 1? I don't know, though. Because he's still going to have to go toe-to-toe with Blackmore's army when he does poke in to attack these balloons. I like this move as well. I like to see Gabany just, like, selling off his own balloons over time. Building more and more lizards. I don't think that 4th base is ever going to get down as long as Blackmore Crest's ferrets are in the right position. He needs to be careful moving his whole army over there. Like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but he is bleeding off a pigeon or two to balloon fire from time to time. We're 13 minutes in, guys. Getting up to 84 lizards. How are the economies looking? Oh, wow. Blackmore Crest is actually going to starve out soon. What does he have left? He's got this one campfire with just a little bit of food. But now that all these balloons are gone, maybe Blackmore Crest tries to push in. But gosh, so many lizards. I mean, 20 falcons is a pretty big deal. I don't know if they're going to have... I mean, the falcons put out DPS pretty quickly, but is it going to be enough to mow down all the lizards? I don't think so. I think they'll do a really good job at the beginning of the engagement, but there's kind of that delay with the falcon, right? Like, it pew-pews a whole bunch pretty quickly, and then it takes a little breath, maybe reloads its machine guns. And I think while it's in that little bit of a pause of attacking, that's when the lizards will actually get in there. Hey, thanks for the follow, Nonia 412. I appreciate it. Like, Blackmore Crest is gonna have to move in. Like, he is just gonna starve first. Granted, Gabany's gonna starve out here soon, but not as soon as Blackmore Crest. We're almost at 15 minutes in with these enormous Deathball armies. Honestly, I feel like Blackmore Crest should sell off some of his own balloons at this point. He needs to be careful, doesn't want to lose all these falcons, and now Gabany pulls the trigger, moves in with just a ton of lizards. Is it gonna be enough? Oh my god. Does Blackmore hold? I don't think so. I think Gabany's got enough here. Pierce is in, and that's gonna be it. Gabany takes the match. So many lizards. That's why you need them toads magodes, man. Sorry, 1 second. I missed a call from a good friend of mine that I haven't talked to in a little while, so I'm going to text him real quick. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate it, guys. If you're new to the show, welcome. I do this every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 p.m. EST. Basically, you submit your replays at ToothAndTailTV at gmail.com, and I try to pick from the list as many unique submitters as I can. I've been getting phenomenal submissions lately, so thank you so much, guys. I mean, I had to pick from, I think, like 40 replays this time around, which is really cool to see, man. That's why I got a few more than I normally do on the docket. I don't know if I'm going to get to... I put a lot, man. I put 19 on the list. I don't think I'll get to everything, but I'm going to do what I can. Silly, I skipped 3. Did I skip 3? I did skip 3, you're right. You're right. Okay, let's do match number 3 here. Okay, spawning to the right, we've got Yaokeem. And his opponent to the left, HD Broken Wing. Yaokeem, I also believe, is a European player. I gotta get like a list, man. I gotta make a list of European players. Please let me know in your email, guys. If you are European, I will do my best to try to put you near the top of the list. So if you stay up live to watch the show live, you don't have to stay up too late. And please don't lie if you're a greedy NA player. Yeah, I want to see my replay earlier. Yeah, I'm European. Don't do that, man. Don't be that guy. All right, Ace with a 5-farm Warren here. Is it going to be for aggression or maybe just a safe opening? Yaokeem does scout it, I believe. Yeah, and he's going to adjust accordingly. Yeah, it looks like it's just a safety Warren. It used to be more popular back in the early days of Tooth and Tail when aggression was a little bit more of a viable strategy for a couple reasons. Again, because kind of what I was talking about in the early days of any RTS, cheeses and aggressive play is a lot stronger because it hasn't been quite mapped out yet. And also the mole was much more powerful in the early game back then, so you'd see a lot of 4-farm, 5-farm mole Warren strategies that were pretty meta. And the lizard was, I believe, more powerful too, so like going 4-farm double lizard was a pretty fun opening. I like it, man. I have been seeing more aggression mixed in lately though, like in the Pocket Bot tournament yesterday. A couple of people I played, I think everybody I played against tried to do some form of non-8-farm aggressive opening. So that was pretty interesting. Ace D with a super early balloon. He actually sold off that Warren. Went for a pretty interesting build here. Balloon double Warren off like 6 to 7 farms. Not slouching on that economy too hard. I don't mind this balloon. It's going to kind of defend these 3 bases here for Ace D. And this map is pretty awful for Yaokeem, I gotta be honest. Like, well, it depends on how long this game goes. Okay, so let me asterisk that statement. So, you know, campfires are really powerful in the early game, right? Before we get to like 2-base play. So Yaokeem does have 3 campfires, so he can delay taking an expansion and still net some money by taking these campfires, especially since Yaokeem has seen the balloon. He hasn't seen the gristmill from Ace D, but that's 180 food right there. That's not invested in army. So Yaokeem can be a little bit more aggressive with taking these campfires. Is he aware of that 3rd one? He is not. That's unfortunate for him, because that's a nice additional campfire. But Yaokeem's not down and out of this game, as he can take this 2nd base down here, kind of set up shop on this high ground as he kind of already is, and he can even throw down a balloon or 2 of his own. It looks like he was trying to get in and see if any of those expansions were taken, but his commander goes down. And AC Broken Wing is going to use that as an opportunity to try to engage in, but Falcon is actually pretty good if it's positioned correctly in like these squirrel engagements. So Yaokeem just defends from having his units in the right spot, regardless of the commander going down. But that wasn't the end of the world for Ace D, right? Like, that trade wasn't awful, you know? He didn't lose too much. That's a really mean balloon, though. It's really going to prevent Yaokeem from scouting in. And now, okay, so now this is going to get brutal for Yaokeem because these 2 balloons here are really going to zone Yaokeem out of this entire side of the map. He's not going to be able to scout. You know, AC could take a quick woof or something like that. Yaokeem wouldn't be able to know. And then also they're going to do a good job of protecting all 4 of these bases, as there's not really another attack path that Yaokeem could maybe try to like sneak through the north and hit that way or something. That's all blocked off. But AC is going to move out here. This is a bit of a questionable attack, as he has invested so much money into this 2nd base and into the balloons. Like, AC Broken Wing is in a good spot, but he's not in a spot to put on aggression. He's in a great spot to just macro up, though. And if you're Yaokeem, you kind of got to be scratching your head. Like, Yaokeem does have access to the 2nd base, and he's got access to 3 campfires. Again, it feels bad for Yaokeem. He didn't get the scout off on that campfire, and I'm not so sure if he ever really will at this point. But, you know, 2-3 campfires is a nice consolation prize for not having access to a 3rd base for sure. But I'd love to see Yaoqing maybe try to muscle in here and just run over his opponent. He's gonna try it, but I don't know if this is the right time to do it. He needs to get some good skunk gas down. Commander got pretty low, worried me for a second. He's trying to target fire down that balloon. He doesn't quite get it. He gets it now, and he breaks through this position. Yeah, fantastic attack timing for sure. I was a bit worried, to be honest, but I think I underestimated how strong those skunks were in that fight. And now Yaoqing's got the momentum. He's gonna break right through AC Broken Wing. That was fantastic play from Yaoqing there, man. I mean, a lot of players, including myself a little bit, to be honest, are kind of, complaining about how hard that position is to break that AC Broken Wing was setting up. But Yaoqing made it look easy there. I think the mistakes from AC might have been, going too hard on that second base and just having so much tier 1 when your opponent has skunks. So... Bonk! Oh my god, what's up, Bonk? Haven't seen you in a minute, dude. Welcome back, man. I need some bonkage in my life, dude. You need to submit me a replay. Good to see you. That was like the TnTTV norm, man. We always had a bonk game, and we always had a 2v2 from Premium Bow. Oh, he sent some last-minute replays. Really cool, man. I'll try to get to one. I've actually... The channel has been doing really good, man, since you've been gone. I got a ton of submissions tonight. I'm actually trying to get to a lot, but... For the bonker, man, I'll squeeze in a bonk match somewhere in here. Okay, guys. Let us take a look at everybody's favorite 12-year-old. Alright, spawning on the right, we've got the notorious Chip from Space. And his opponent to the left, Blue Coon. Alright, man, Chip with a bit of iteration here. I like Chip's strategies he was using a couple weeks ago. Like is a strong word. I hate it, but I like it. We did a lot of scrims one time, and I just sat there trying to throw stuff at him and break this balloon style that Chip really pioneered with owls, and then he started iterating it to Wolf Owl. That was super powerful. But now it looks like he's still got the balloon, but he used to run the skunk and the ferret with this, and he's changing up the tier 2 a bit. Still got that balloon though, and I like to see the wolf, man. I don't know. I don't think the wolf is bad right now. I don't think we see it picked as often as owl or fox, but I think the wolf is kind of resurging in the meta. The wolf is extremely powerful when paired up with the right units. Falcons and chameleons are both great candidates for this, and look at these decks. I mean, they're pretty similar here. Squizzard versus Squirrel Toad, that's a matchup that can kind of go either way, but I think I do, even though I'm personally more of a Squirrel Toad player, I think I do give it more to the Squirrel Lizard player, because the Lizard player, for a couple reasons, the Lizard player, for one, still has this option of the deck, it doesn't even matter what the other 5 units in my deck are, right? I can just build a million lizards and all in. Not only that, but the tech switch capability of having lizards in your deck is pretty monumental. You can play standard and up front, and have a few lizards mixed in there, and then later on you can desperation tech switch into lizards and try to surprise your opponent. And also, lizards have the opportunity to flank attack, right? In a direct engagement, Squirrel Toad will beat Squirrel Lizard, but the Lizard player doesn't necessarily have to take a direct engagement. They can kind of run around and flank and try to catch the opponent out of position. Pile is phenomenal at that kind of play. Chip is no slouch at it either. And then finally, you can do some really cheeky things with lizards where it's okay, you're building a good amount of Squizzard, I'm building a good amount of Squirrel Toad. Let's say I have 6 or 9 toads, right? And then you sell off a lot of your lizards, but keep 3 of them, maybe 6, depending on how many toads. And then try to run your 3 lizards into 6 toads or something like that and get a lot of value that way. So there's a lot that kind of goes into the analysis of Squirrel Toad versus Squirrel Lizard, where kind of on paper, Squirrel Toad might be stronger, but it really comes down to the play style, the engagements that get taken, and the map. I mean, all kinds of stuff. Now, Blue Coon is rushing out a really fast wolf here. Kind of an interesting unit. You don't typically see, you don't really think of the wolf as like a tier 3 rush unit. That's kind of more reserved, obviously, for the fox, maybe the boar, although we haven't been seeing the boar in the meta too much lately. And I guess you could even say the badger. But a fast wolf is going to allow you to get a stronger economy up front, but he's not going to have any of these juicy tier 2 units that really benefit from having that wolf buff. Chip has not scouted the wolf either, but Chip is pretty good at counting, so he's probably come into Blue Coon and seen, okay, you have this amount of squirrels, you've got this amount of farms, you're missing some money somewhere. And look at that, he rallies some chameleons over and goes home. Oh man, I think Blue Coon's commander would have unstealthed the chameleons. Does that happen anymore? I don't think that happens anymore, right? I think that got changed. What kind of accent is that? Yeah, I am a southern man. I am from Florida. And I've also got a cold that I've had for like a million years. I think I'm just permanently sick now, guys. I'm just gonna be sick forever. It's not like amount of sick that you gotta like worry about me, like, oh no, Delthius is sick, but it's like enough sick to where it's just annoying. All right, lots of chameleons here from Chip. The wolf is out on the board, and for now it's just buffing up them pigs, making them work faster. That could be a double-edged sword, though. It's going to boost your economy for the time being, but you will mine out quicker. And Blue Coon really can't afford to sit around on this map. I mean, this map is pretty clearly in the favor of Chip, as Chip seems to have access to a relatively easy 4 bases, while Blue Coon really just has those 2. I mean, maybe Blue Coon can try to get this 3rd, but I don't know if Chip would really let him get out on the map that much. Maybe. Chip trying to do some runaround attack, some sneaky attacks with these chameleons, but Blue Coon actually handles that quite nicely. I don't think he really took any damage at all from that, unless I missed some. So a little bit of a blunder there from Chip. And now Blue Coon might be feeling confident. I think he needs to attack in, man. Like, he can't sit around. He needs to try to get this wolf buff to proc on the Falcons. You can kind of do that by moving the rest of your tier 1 away. Ooh, he's going to try to get this high ground. That choke is pretty brutal with these toads here. Some decent toad engagements, but a lot of them going down on those warrens. And this is looking okay for Blue Coon. Is the chameleon's going to be enough? Oh no! Miss micro there from Blue Coon. Loses the wolf. But he's still winning this engagement. Man, I think if Blue Coon didn't lose the wolf there, he might have had enough to just kill Chip right here, right now. But Chip with some good control under pressure is going to stay alive, going to retreat back. Now Chip is taking quite a bit of damage at this point. His army is traded unfavorably, and he's losing warrens. But never count Chip out, man. If there is a player that can make a miracle comeback happen, it is certainly Chip, as we've seen time and time again on the feast. But yeah, great attack from Blue Coon there. It looks like he wants to get another wolf. It's always kind of a hard decision after you lose that tier 3. Like, okay, do I, kind of, count my losses and just sell that tier 3 warren and get that money back, or do I maybe sell a tier 1 warren, as we saw Blue Coon do there, and try to get that other tier 3? And I actually like that decision to try to get another tier 3. Nice little poke damage from those chameleons, just keeping Blue Coon on his toes. Yeah, I like the decision to try to get that wolf again, because it was so effective in that last engagement. All right, Chip moving in with the chameleons again. Nice job from Chip there, taking out a warren and getting those chameleons out of harm's way without dying. And keep in mind, these chameleons will regenerate faster in their territory than they used to with recent patch changes. And Chip's trying to expand out and really claim these additional bases, and this window is kind of closing for Blue Coon now, as Chip's economy is just going to start carrying him to victory. Now, Blue Coon did take that good engagement earlier. Excuse me. But this could get bad if he waits too long. Nice denial on that gristmill. Chip really utilizing these chameleons to put together this comeback. Gonna try to move in here for a big engagement. Chameleons hitting from the back. The toad hits weren't fantastic there. And Chameleons hitting from the back really gave Chip a lot of surface area in that engagement. Gets the whoop. If Chip wins, I'm gonna rage quit stream, says Massive Self. Hey, don't punish me for Chip being a bastard, okay? And speaking of Chip winning, I think that's all she wrote from Blue Coon. He's just kind of sitting there like, yeah, you got it. He doesn't quit though. He's maybe just thinking about it. I honestly think he didn't tap out to get a better look at Chip's army. But good job from Chip there. That nice flank with the chameleons really helped give him a lot of surface area in that final engagement. As you can see, I mean, Blue Coon's army was still superior at that point. And Blue Coon losing the wolves really kind of hurt him in that game. Okay, I'm going to take a quick 1 to 2 minute break, grab another drink, get some coughing and sneezing out of the way and stuff. But it'll be a pretty short break, so don't go anywhere, guys. I'll be right back in just a minute or two. What's up, guys? I am back. Sorry about that. I appreciate you sticking around with me. Anyone else having buffering issues, says Premium Bow? I don't know, man. Ace was talking about that earlier. I've got 0 drop frames, so hopefully it's not on my end. Ugh. Delicious tonic water, man. My wife hates tonic water. It's just carbonated water, like... It's like soda without any of the sugar. I just like the bubbles. But my wife hates it, which is great. So she doesn't drink it, and I get all of them. Alright, where we're at, guys. We are on match number 6 here. And let's get into it. Let me make sure everything's good on my end. It looks like it. Alright, let's do it. Alright, spawning in the bottom, we've got Lynx and Sexy Pachinko. And their opponents up top, Mick Premium Bow, MC Premium Bow 426, and Premium Sick Rap Skills. I don't think they're in cahoots at all. Alright, what do we got going on here? 4-farm Lizard from Premium Bow in the most aggressive posture as possible. Let's see if it gets scouted out by his opponents. So far, they haven't seen it, which is pretty bad, man. Because you gotta respond. Luckily, Lynx throws down his own Warren pretty quickly. Now they see what's up. Premium going for the 4-farm double. This used to be a viable strategy in 1v1, not so much anymore. But 2v2 is pretty different. I feel like it's pretty viable strategy in 2v2, especially when your partner is just macroing up, right? Like Premium Bow is getting some damage done, trying to force a response from both of these players, if possible, right? To kind of sacrifice on their economy while his teammate is going super hard on macro. Premium Go gets some good damage on there. Nice response from Blue and Red. They didn't overreact. As I say that, Pachinko and Lynx are throwing up some defense to try to keep Premium Bow at bay. But Premium Bow is going to move in again and just say, okay, I'll go right around that defense. He's going to get a pick for sure. Let's see if he sticks around and tries to get another one. He is indeed. And going to back out after that, pick up a squirrel for his trouble on the way out. So overall, a nice bit of damage done here by Premium Bow. And Blue and Red are a little bit scared, man. They threw down this defense that didn't quite help them out. And look at this, man. 8-farm Fox with some toads. Man, I love 2v2. You just never get to see this kind of stuff in 1v1. So where are they going to go from here? Blue and Red really, Red really needs to get his economy back up and running. But Sexy Pachinko is in a decent spot this game. You know, kind of going for a little bit of like a 1v1 build, you know, a couple of tier 1 into a tier 2. Changes his mind though at the last second and decides to turtle up, get another turret. And all these defenses are fantastic for green and yellow because, you know, they can simply go around them or hit them in weak spots or just say, fine, you invest all this in defense, we can expand, we can get a stronger army. Or in the case of sick rap skills over here, get out that fast Fox. Now, the Fox does get scouted by Sexy Pachinko. I'd love to see him sell off those Falcons, perhaps, as they're not going to be very useful against the Fox. But decides to keep them for now. Well, his defense will help zone out the Foxes later. So that's good for them. But this defense, not trying to pick on Red and Blue too much, but this defense is kind of not doing enough, I don't feel like, because it's not getting them any more bases, right? Like if this defense kind of defended their mains and then like a natural expansion for both of them, then I'd be like, yeah, that makes you know, that's pretty good. But I'm a little bit worried as this army comp for green and yellow. Look at this, they're getting their second bases up. The Fox is almost out, and so Red and Blue really got to scratch their heads here. Pachinko trying to get that Badger, which can do well against the Fox. It really just comes down to the engagement. I would favor the Fox in the Fox vs. Badger scenario, but not by a whole lot. Like, the Badger players certainly can win. All right, Lynx going to try to take a sneaky expansion over to the side, it looks like, once he can get some money up. And just premium sick rap skills. Army, or just money is through the roof. And yeah, this is why this early defense can be a little bit risky, as the Fox is like, all right, man, I'll just walk right around that turret, get a couple kills, and try to move out. But he's going to take some hits. He should be okay, though. Premium Bow coming in to cover the Fox, bro. And make sure that Fox gets out alive. A little bit of counterattack over to the side by Red, but he doesn't quite have enough to get anything done with it. Gonna have to move back out, and this is why the Fox, like a rule of thumb, man, if you see your opponents going Fox and you've got some Falcons on the way, I would sell those Falcons off, man, because they just perform very poorly against the Fox. Like, what is this, man? This is like a Fox pretending to be a Badger here with so many pigeons. All right, so Pachinko really needs an expansion. But it's going to be hard. Like, this map is pretty favored for green and yellow. Like, look at that, man. You could not ask for a better spawn than that. You know, both players have super, super easy access to a third. And meanwhile, even taking a second base on this map is very difficult for Red and Blue. They would have had to have tried to get out earlier on the map and taken these two bases and try to deny you know, try to muscle up here on this high ground for map presence. And if they would have been able to do that, then these two bases would have got denied from green and yellow. Just because generally, like, you just can't quite build your own gristmill so close to an opponent's. Nice denial of that balloon. That would have been very nice for blue and red to help zone back that fox, but it goes down. The arty cannons are going up. We haven't seen those too much lately, but Premium Bow is a madman indeed. He likes doing things that are... Dude, Premium Bow plays by his own rules, man. He makes his own meta. It always creates some really cool games. Alright, we're getting to a little bit of a standstill, but this is very, very favored situation for green and yellow. You know, this position is simply unbreakable. I think it was really smart that they got these forward bases first, because that allows all these... Oh, I didn't even notice this extra base for Premium Bow, as if you didn't have access to enough. And I think red and blue are just going to kind of starve out, to be honest. I mean, we're almost 7 minutes in. They're really having trouble... you know, securing second bases for themselves. They realize that, they try to come in here, but these expansions from green and yellow here have gone from risk to reward quite some time ago. They've got a significant army. 48 pigeons, man. What the hell am I watching? Pachinko has the same mentality. It just taps out, and Lynx is actually going to stick around. Dude, that's so many pigeons. I don't think I've ever seen that many pigeons before. I think that's, like, I gotta bring that up to Andy sometime. Like, these headbanging pigeons. Oh my god. Dude, we need a heavy metal pigeon skin, dude. Because I was gonna say, like, I don't think that's intentional with the sprite, right? Like, you see how they're just kind of headbanging? But what if we throw, like, a sick mohawk on there, you know? Make it, like, black and red. Dude, I want a heavy metal pigeon skin. That would be amazing. Somebody must do it. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to reach out to the pixel artists and request heavy metal pigeon. Oh, yeah. You know what really benefits from pigeons, guys? Toads. You just want to make sure they're nice and full HP before they blow themselves up. Let's see it. 63 toads. I like it. I love it. I want some more of it. That's a lot of toads. Toads my goads, my man. The toads and pigeon flock. So the pigeons can come in and soak the damage from this single balloon, right? And then all the toads can come in and annihilate the bases. Nice try from Lynx over here. Trying to be sneaky with these falcons. Dude, these two falcons might be hero falcons. Like, they're not going to be able to deal with these amount of numbers, but they're out of position. I mean, they just have free range on these toads, but toads my goads, my man. That is way too many toads. Way too many pigeons. Gonna heal everything to death. Yeah, suicide the pigeons, man. Yeah, the pigeons are tanking. The balloon shots for the toads are gonna heal up these toads. Make sure these toads are nice and full HP, because you might as well be healthy before your death here. And here come the toads. And before two falcons clear this mess. Oh, that would have been so funny. I wish Lynx was a bit more, like, he's got 6 falcons. Like, it's not enough, but it could do something, maybe. They're getting some damage done. Oh my god, 81 pigeons, why? Why 81 pigeons? He decides 81's too much, goes down to 78. Oh, he's got 89 pigeons, excuse me. It looks like these Warrens are just kind of dying. And the Toad Pigeon Army is moving in against the Falcons. Gonna do absolutely nothing, but they're gonna come in and knock out that last gristmill and take the game. When did Delth drop his skins? Dude, I forgot, man. I was having issues with my antivirus software and Tooth and Tail, and I had to reinstall Tooth and Tail last night, and I forgot to put the skins back on. I will have the skins back in action for Thursday's show. But yeah, man, skin request heavy metal pigeon, dude. Let's make the most out of a sprite glitch. I don't know, like is it though? Is it a glitch? Hey, it's gotta be a glitch, right? But then it's like the game's been out for so long. I don't know, maybe it's just been so minor. Nobody's complained about it. Andy hasn't bothered to fix it. Okay, guys, match number 7. I don't think so. Like, if it was a glitch, then I'm sure Andy would have fixed it by now. But, like, why would it be headbanging like that? I don't understand. Spawning in the bottom, guys, we've got Blue Cat. And his opponent up top, Darwin. Okay, what do we got going on here? A couple balloons, a wolf, a fox, some skunks. Looks good, looks good. Map looks favored for Darwin here. But I don't think Blue Cat's down and out. He's got a constellation campfire here. Help him in the early game. But he's really going to have to muscle for position on this map. And it's going to be difficult as Darwin has them lizards. Now Darwin is running a little bit of a risk here, going only lizard in his tier 1 slot, as toads could certainly hard counter that. But Blue Cat doesn't have the toads. And I feel like it's a pretty safe risk in the current meta, as, you know, I think toads are fine. I think they're pretty good if used correctly, but not a lot of people use them at the moment. So it is risky, but not the biggest risk in the world. Pretty similar openings. It looks like Darwin macroed up to 8 farms a little bit faster than Blue Cat, but no harm, no foul. They're going to end up in a similar position. Darwin does have the slight economic advantage, though, from getting his farms out a bit earlier. But over time, that'll stabilize. I mean, less and less as the match progresses. And yeah, this is going to be rough for Blue Cat, man, to be honest. Like, he's just got to commit to, like, a side of the map or just go for a 1 base all in. I mean, he does have easy access to this campfire. He can take this other campfire a little bit more exposed, but not super greedy. I guess we'll just have to see how it pans out. I mean, I think Squirrel Lizard is favorable over just pure Lizard. But if I'm Blue Cat here, I'm being aggressive, man. This high ground out in the middle of the map is kind of fair game for anybody. But Darwin has these, you know, second and third base just right in spitting distance of his main. I mean, this spawn, man. Like, come on. You cannot ask for a better spawn than that. And Blue Cat gonna try to be sneaky, move around to the side, and hit Darwin where he's not looking. I think he should for sure get a pig. I wonder if he's gonna overcommit, though. He gets the pig, he moves out. He's gonna lose a few lizards here. Might actually end up losing all of these. No, 2 of them seem to get away. Overall, still a good trade. Yeah, Blue Cat lost 20 more food, but it's typically okay to take out economy and not be completely cost efficient, because you got to calculate all the lost mining time. And Darwin might not even rebuild this base farm and instead build these farms over on the side here, which I kind of agree with, because it's like, you're going to build a farm anyways, you might as well build the fresh one. Okay, this is exactly what Blue Cat needed to do. I like this play a lot. Like, you just gotta get out here on the map, man. Ooh, he's trying to throw down, they both try to throw down balloons at pretty similar times. Who's gonna jump on who? A couple turrets going down as well. It's gonna be difficult for Blue Cat to attack into. But Blue Cat doesn't really need to attack into it. Dude, look at that. Exact same time. Wow, that's crazy. Blue Cat was thinking about moving out with his lizards, trying to do another run by attack, but doesn't want to get his army out of position. Moves back for now. Yeah, Darwin's just going to claim this territory. I think that's mainly why he's taking this third already. Maybe plants a balloon over there. I'm not sure if that would be a good idea, because it would be pretty exposed. But Darwin's got 3 bases, but if Blue Cat can contain him, it'll be 3 base versus 5, right? Which will indeed eventually favor that Blue Cat. And Skunks coming down for Blue Cat. Skunks aren't as good against lizards as they are against squirrels, but I still think they're pretty good against lizards, right? Like, Lizards are going to eventually get into a position where they will take damage from the gas. And if you try to just commit to the fight, you know, they're going to take a ton of damage from that gas, as the squirrels will. And then also, you know, skunks have a good amount of HP to try to tank against some of those lizards, so I think it's fine. But Blue Cat decides instead to sell off that skunk and go for the fox. Always like seeing the fox come out, but this is a rough position for the fox, to be honest. I'm not so sure if I agree with it in this situation particularly, as lizards are really good against fox, and of course defensive structures completely zone out and hard counter the fox. So that's going to be rough. Blue Cat really doesn't want this defensive position to get set up from Darwin. I like this move out from Blue Cat a lot, trying to pounce on this defense before Darwin's army gets here, but that is a lot of lizards. Is it going to be enough to clean up these squirrels? It looks like it will be. Nice engagement there from Darwin, and now he's going to push in and see what else he can get done. Ooh, gets that skunk warren. Getting a lot of damage done here. He's even going to get this balloon. Very good counterattack here from Darwin. Yeah, that was rough for Blue Cat because he's invested into the fox, right? So just the army of Darwin is going to be better in that position. But Blue Cat, I did understand why he did the move out, because if Darwin does get that defense over to the left and get that balloon up, it's going to be hard for Blue Cat to really take these couple bases over here. But that puts Darwin in a dominating position. The fox is almost here. With some good micro, maybe Blue Cat can make some magic happen with it, but it's going to be really hard to micro this fox against lizards. Isn't there that meme about the head-banging pigeon? Oh, dude, I'm sure there is. I haven't seen it. I need to see it. All right, Blue Cat playing it safe, just picking off a lizard or two where he can. Darwin's like, come on, man. Bring that fox more forward. That turret is going to be great for Darwin. I really like the fox paired up with the ferret. Just because it helps deal with turrets and things of that nature. You know, Blue Cat doesn't really have a great answer against turrets in his deck. The squirrel, that's Hero Squirrel, man. Actually tanked that turret completely with those 3 pigeons sealing it. I don't know who the hero is there, really. The pigeons or the squirrel, right? But, man, these lizards are just doing such good work against these squirrels in these open trades. Overall, I feel like Darwin is playing this game very well. Even muscled his way out here and secured this base. The Blue Cat is slowly getting value with this fox, man. And I think this is really important, too. I see Fox players not do enough. It's like, yeah, there's like a turret there or a little bit of defense. You can still get in there and get some damage done with the Fox, right? Like, if an opponent has a balloon, you can kind of like tank the first hit with your commander. Let the Fox take like one of the hits from the balloon. It might give you enough time to get in there, poke some damage, and get out. And finally, things are looking better for Blue Cat there. He had enough for a decent engagement against Darwin, and Darwin's going to have to run home with his tail between his legs. And now Blue Cat is in position to get some economic damage done. Knocks out that gristmill on the high ground. He's going to have to retreat with his fox before the lizards and get on top of it, though. But he's got his tier 1 here to go home to. And Blue Cat is actually coming back in this game super hard. I don't think Darwin is in a winnable position from here. Nice play from Blue Cat. I mean, Darwin got really ahead, but some good Fox micro, some good decision making on when to go in and when to go out. And Blue Cat has clawed his way back into this. Nice little pickup on the balloon. You always want to try to do that, man. If your opponent's army is out of position and you see some exposed defense, you can just kind of hop on it, because defense alone isn't that good. Like, defense is amazing when it's got an army to back it up, right? But by itself, it can get pounced on and taken out pretty quickly. Ooh, is this enough squirrels to deal with this amount of lizards? 21 squirrels on paper against 18 lizards. Darwin does trade okay in that fight, but doesn't trade well enough. It sees the writing on the wall and taps out. Safe risk, says Duchu. Yeah. Listen. There's like a range of risks, okay? You have like a safer risk and a risky risk. I don't know. Now I'm just kind of talking out my ass, man. All right. Let's keep things moving. Match number 8. Okay, spawning on the right, we've got Sexy Pachinko, or I'm Dingo Dancing. The names up top screwed me up. And on the left, Sexy Pachinko. All right. Owl, Balloon, Ferret from both players. The snakes for Dingo, the chameleons for Pachinko. Overall, I think I like Dingo's deck a little bit better. But it's really going to come down to what kind of cool tactics Pachinko can whip out with the chameleons. The chameleons are really great at little sneak attacks and flanks. There's not a lot of units in the game that really allow you to do like two-prong attacks. Like, if you guys haven't seen the TnT tactics videos that Mishi has put out, man, definitely give those a check out. You could just, on YouTube, search Tooth and Tail Tactics Mishi and they'll come up, and he talks a little bit about executing two-prong attacks. Chameleon's a good unit, useful in situations like that. And they're pretty good, straightforward bruiser units in a regular engagement / composition as well. So yeah, but I feel like Snake in this fight particularly, like Snake does okay against balloons. You know, you can get in there and get a couple of stacks of poison on those balloons and knock them out. Maybe not lose your snakes in the process, especially with the pigeons. That might help with that. And then the snakes are going to do great against owls later on. You know, snakes are just kind of a nice answer to most tier 3 units, getting that poison stack going to deal with them high HP pools. And the turrets for Pachinko here are probably not going to be useful as all, as Dingo does have them ferrets, so. Dingo Pachinko. Alright, what's better? Dingo Pachinko or Dancing Sexy? Oh, Dancing Sexy is way better. There's no contest. That's no contest. If we do another 2v2 tournament, I want to see a Dingo Dancing Sexy Pachinko team named Dancing Sexy. You know what I'm saying? Dingo Pachinko is pretty good too, though, because it rhymes. Well, it doesn't technically rhyme, but if you're not a super hardcore grammar nerd, you'll let it slide. Sexy Dancing is okay, but I think I like Dancing Sexy better. Pachinko Dingo's funnier, I think. But anyways, guys, back to the game. Pachinko here has got the 4 chameleons underway, and Dingo is going up to a couple snakes in an early expansion. This is a nice map for a macro game, but it definitely favors Dingo Dancing here. Pachinko does have access to that second base, so he can't complain too much. But the strategy here for players is probably going to be quite different after getting the lay of the land, where Dingo Dancing is like, okay, man, I'm down for a late game. He's kind of doing that classic early expansion, get a tier 2, get a balloon up kind of style. And this balloon is amazing. Like, that is such a money balloon, man, because it's going to defend 3 bases here for Dingo and keep him feeling safe. And Dingo wants this game to go long, where Pachinko doesn't mind taking this game to a mid-game, but Pachinko really can't afford to allow this to go past 6 or 7 minutes. So he's rushing up to a really fast owl here, and that's going to get scouted immediately from Dingo Dancing. I'm curious on how he responds. Pachinko double dipping a little bit here, going for an expansion and a fast owl. But he can kind of get away with it, as Dingo, did invest in that balloon, invested in his own farm. And look at this. I love the response from Dingo Dancing here. That's beautiful. If Pachinko doesn't scout this, he's not going to sense this coming. He still thinks, okay, Dingo is trying to macro up on that second base behind the balloon, right? Where Dingo identified, you know what, man? You're trying to take a tier 3. You're trying to take a fast expand. Typically, you got to do one of those things. You're going to go super hardcore greedy and try to get both of them. I'm going to tech switch into a whole bunch of units, and I'm going to try to hit a timing attack before that tier 3 is up. And even if the tier 3 is up, Dingo might still be able to take the fight. Like, a single owl is nothing to write home about, especially when you have 4 snakes. Let's see it. The siege is starting from Dingo. He's moving the snakes forward to try to get some poke damage done. And this is going to come down to the engagement, but overall, Dingo should have a stronger army. Nice chameleons here. Up on the front line, tanking a lot of damage. Snakes are dropping, chameleons are dropping, and we're left mainly with the tier 1 army, but 1 snake remains from Dingo. Nice micro. He wants to keep that snake kind of up front to tank some hits, get healed back by these pigeons. These pigeons are doing a fantastic job helping buffer for a prolonged engagement. Especially if you can... Oh, that snake, it's so close, it does go down from the ambush of the chameleon. 1 stack of poison on that owl. If he gets another stack of poison, or 2, that might be enough to kill it. 6 pigeons healing that 1 snake wasn't quite enough. And is Pachinko going to hold? I think Dingo's got enough here to break through, but he needs to get that owl target fire down. I don't even think he does, though, to be honest. Like, he might just be fine, like, dealing with these mice as they trickle in. As Pachinko is really running out of units here as these warrens go down. Like, losing warrens is so huge, man. Really limits your reinforcing capabilities. I think that was very well played from both players here, but I love that. I just love seeing, like, strategy and tech switches. Like, it's really cool to see when players respond to what other players are doing, and I think Dingo did that phenomenally in this game. Like, look at his second base. Like, he only took 1 farm on it. You know, his initial strategy was like, all right, I'm gonna macro up, I'm gonna get some owls out, you know, we're gonna do that kind of style, but he identified Pachinko was being a little bit too greedy. You know, decides, okay, I'm not gonna saturate my second base, I'm gonna sell that balloon, I'm gonna get a bunch of tier 1 and move out with these snakes and pigeons. And executed well. Good replay from Dancing Sexy. Did my replay happen yet? Says I bleed the 5th. Do I have... I'm really bad about, like... Did you submit this one? If you didn't, then I might sneak you in, because I can be bad about sometimes when I'm renaming these things. I kind of download in mass. Maybe I should stop doing that. But like you've been in a lot of games tonight, so I might have missed the one that you submitted, if that makes sense. Yeah, you were in... Yeah, you're going to be in game 12, and then you're in game 19 if we get there, but I think Premium Bo submitted this one. Maybe Joachim submitted this one, maybe you did, I'm not so sure. Where are we at, guys? Okay. Vladlad versus Massive Stealth. Let's get into it. I didn't submit any, I just wanted to see myself on the big screen. Man, you're making me, like, freak out. How dare you? Alright, guys, spawning at the bottom, we've got Vladlad. And his opponent up top, Massive Stealth. I do try really hard to get as many unique submitters as I can on the show. But I don't count that. Like, if Mishi submits a game from Chip, right? And then Chip submits a game against Mishi, I consider that 2 unique submitters. But sometimes it can be difficult, because if I have a whole bunch of submissions, Massive Stealth doing a little bit of mole harassment here, by the way. Let's see if Vladlad responds. He doesn't have the turret, which is a nice, easy answer. He's going to throw down a Warren, but he's going to be too slow for this. As long as he sells these building farms, he should be okay. He does indeed sell both of them. Massive Stealth takes a little bit of damage there. Does Vladlad commit to these Warrens? No, he sells them off, and we're going to kind of have a regular early game from here. But Massive Stealth doesn't necessarily know that Vladlad was going to sell those Warrens, so he's kind of worried that there might be some counter-aggression coming. But yeah, I'm not always... Like, I can get that mixed up. You know what I'm saying? Like, in that same example with Chip and Mishi, like, I might see Mishi versus Chip and then gloss over the Chip versus Mishi, or if there was another game that Chip submitted, I might just be like, there's a Mishi versus Chip game, so it's fine. But from here, we're going to be in relatively stable spot. Vladlad is ahead. Massive Stealth got a little bit juked there into building a couple more warrens than he needed at this point. And he doesn't have an 8th farm, but he's going to try to make lemonade with these lemons here. And try to attack in, but he thinks twice about it. I think that's the correct move. He's not going to get up there, especially with that high ground, the defender's advantage, the warrens. So he's going to have to back out and build that 8th farm and take the game from there. Gonna take a proxy gristmill, basically. I think he's hoping he can get a balloon into like this position. And that would be super brutal for Vladlad to deal with. I'm just a programmer, so my natural instincts would present with rules to find a way to break them. Dude, I wouldn't call myself a programmer. I'm kind of a spreadsheet junkie, so I know a lot about like writing macros in VBA. I know the basics of scripting and other things like Python and stuff. I need to write a little script to auto-name replays with a macro in VBA. It'd be really easy to do. Maybe I'll do that this weekend or something. Ooh, Vladlad trying to stop this balloon from going down, but it is indeed up. And that's going to put Massive Stealth in a very good spot. It's going to be hard for Vladlad to leave his base at this point to deal with this balloon. Oh, is he going to get it? Gets really, really low. The pigeon healing almost keeps the skunks alive, but not quite. Now Massive Stealth's going to come in. Those toads could have gotten some crazy good engagements, but since they're going out by themselves with a little bit of target fire from Massive Stealth, they do not go off. But with the high ground, with the defender's advantage, Vladlad's going to hold. And now he can finally break out of that balloon. Massive Stealth's got a lot of money, though, so he's going to go home and throw down a bunch of warrens and try to keep his macro on point. But this investment is null and void for Massive Stealth. It was really annoying. It killed a skunk. It made Vladlad think on his feet. But overall, I don't think it did crippling damage to Vladlad. Really cool strategy from Massive Stealth, though. Losing these toads to auto-firing on the gristmill hurts a little bit. I think spreadsheets count as programming. It's kind of the same thing for, I believe, the 5th. Look at your kind soul. Well, I do I'm really good in the spreadsheet, but I also do VBA, you know, and that's coding, like VBA macro generation. I am actually pretty darn good at writing VBA macros. I do it for, well, that's not all I do, but did it for a living at my previous job. But I am starting a new job on Monday. I'm super excited for doing design, mechanical engineering work, so I'm looking forward to that. But anyways, guys, Massive Stealth moving out here. Dude, at first, like, I didn't want to be a programmer. When I was younger, I was like, I just don't want to, you know, be coding all day. But once I started messing around with Arduino and, like, building little robots with stepper motors and stuff, I was like, oh my god, like, programming is like sorcery in the real world, dude. I could, like, make robotics work with this. This is insane. So now I love programming, man. It's really cool. Dude, if you're young, some pro life advice from old Delthius here, man. Dude, invest some time into learning a coding language if you're interested in computer type stuff at all, which I'm sure you are if you're watching this stream. But look at this. Massive Stealth tries to come in. But Skunk Gas is going down all over this tier 1. And we got a balloon versus balloon in range of each other. They're disappointed that their sniper rifles can't aim at each other's very vulnerable inflatable husk there. The engagement's coming in. Massive Stealth does knock out the balloon of his opponent, keeps his Falcon alive at 1 HP, but it does eventually go down. I don't even know what's going on in this game anymore. Like, who's in the lead? It's been pretty back and forth. Maybe Massive Stealth is in the lead at this point. Like, he's got more tier 1 on the board. He's basically got a similar economy. You got to keep in mind these campfires, right? And three farms over here. So yeah, I think Massive Stealth is actually at an advantage. Are we going to see a Massive Stealth win on ToothAndTailTV? Isn't that against the rules? Look at this. Nice, decisive engagement here for Massive Stealth. Coming in. Getting a lot of damage done. This skunk is eventually going to clean up and or push out the remaining squirrel forces of Massive Stealth, but he got the damage done he needed. You can just go home for the time being. Let his scrolls heal up in your territory, Mass Stealth. Get him in there. There you go. And yeah, maybe throw down a farm. I always think that's the best strategy. Like, if you're not certain on how and when to saturate up your expansions, I think that kind of thing is beautiful. Like, you know, take an engagement, you know, back out, let your army rebuild, throw down like a farm or two, rinse and repeat. It's a good way to kind of keep your economy up and running but not overcommit to economy. Respecting Geneva conventions and not snipe balloons with rifles. But not respecting the Geneva Convention by shooting medics. I agree with you guys on both points there. That's going to be it. Massive Cell takes the win. But yeah, man, what I was saying, little life advice from Delthius, dude. If you're a young lad out there on the internet, you want to make sure you got some job security, man. Just learn a coding language. You don't have to invest a lot of time into it, man. I know you like to play your video games, but maybe like a half hour a night, an hour a night, you know, maybe on Saturday, do a few hours of coding, man. Python, C#, any of those. Dude, I guarantee you, man, if you invest in a little bit of coding while you're young, you're going to be hireable for the rest of your life. I mean, the guy that made Stardew Valley, like, he coded that entire thing himself. Like, yeah, he went to school for a computer science degree, but you don't have to go to school to learn C# or something. There's a lot of great things online. Andy Schatz that made this game. Like, I talked to him a lot about it at TwitchCon. You know, he said he picked up coding as a young kid, and he did it from making games. Like, I played around in Unity. Unity's a free software. There's a lot of tutorials for it, and you can learn C# while making video games and stuff, so it's fun. But I'm not gonna preach too much, man. But definitely a good skill to pick up, man, especially while you're young and you got free time. I'm telling you, man, it gets harder when you get older like me and you work all the time, and then you're just exhausted because you're old. You don't have that youth energy anymore. Good dad, Delthius, says Valeris. Yeah, Unity was a lot of fun, man. I played around with it for a little while. I worked my way through a couple tutorials. I've always wanted to make, like, a 2D pixel art action RPG, man. I've just never committed the time to it because I do too many other... I'm a little too invested in music at this point. Like, there's kind of a sunk cost fallacy. Like, I've been playing drums for like 12 or 13 years now, so it's like, okay, I'm just gonna keep playing drums and maybe get to a professional level at that, you know, rather than start from scratch at another skill. Alright guys, let me go on a coughing fit real quick, and then we'll hop into the next game. Alright, I am back. What's up, everybody? Can't stop drumming, says Pillow 8. Dude, let me tell, like, I thought about quitting. I've been, not only been drumming, but I've been in local bands consistently for like 12 or 13 years. I've played like hundreds of gigs. Nothing crazy. Like, I have played with a few big bands, and so that's been really cool. Guys like Obituary and a few others. Man, I'm blanking on the guys we just played with, like a really popular German metal band. I don't know why I'm blanking. They're freaking amazing. But anyways, yeah, man. Like, I thought about quitting music, but like, I don't know. I'm just like, the camaraderie is cool. Like, it's just an excuse to hang out with your buddies once a week. Creator. Yeah, Creator's the other band we just played with. They were super awesome. Dude, Creator put on like such an amazing live show. Like, oh my god. Like, for like 100 to 200 person venue, like, that was some of the coolest stuff I've seen. But anyways, guys, back to the game. I almost skipped that 2v2, but I caught it. Let's keep going, man. It's 10 o'clock. Normally I end the show here, but I've been getting so many submissions lately. I wanted to say thanks by going a little bit longer, and we got pretty good viewership. So as long as the number stays pretty high, I might keep going, see how far down we can get on this list. I want to watch you play drums on Twitch. Dude, All right, hang on. I'll talk about that in a minute. So on the right, we've got Iris and Melvin Fro, and their opponents to the left, Seraphim and Yaokim. So I have actually been thinking about launching another Twitch channel, Delthius TV, perhaps, something like that, where I play StarCraft 2. I'm not like the best at StarCraft 2, but I'm a try-hard, high diamond, low master kind of player. I do want to try to commit to practicing every day, try to get to high master, maybe even crack into low GM one of these days. Yeah, I was thinking about making another Twitch channel where I play StarCraft and I play drums. So if you guys would be interested in that, man, I might do that. I've been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it lately. Like, before I do that, I want to kind of learn a bunch of drum covers that I've been meaning to learn anyways, because typically when I practice, it's just boring, man. Like, I'm a death metal drummer, so like I have to do blast beats at 200 BPM and double bass at 200 BPM and stuff like that. Just is very mechanical intensive. So like my drum routine is just like a workout, basically. It's like, okay, let me put on the metronome at 180 BPM and try to do triplet blasts or eighth note triplet quad rolls, or various patterns on the ride, like if that makes sense. Like, I don't normally cover songs or play songs when I practice. I just work on mechanics and fundamentals, and then I actually play music when I go to band practice. But I think eventually launching a Twitch channel where I play drums would be a good incentive to try to cover. Like, I was listening to The Sword a lot lately. They're one of my favorite rock bands, and I was listening. I was like, dude, I could play this. I could play all. I mean, The Sword's got an amazing drummer, but I feel like I could do the licks that he's playing if I practice it, and I think that would be really cool to do on stream. But anyways, guys, in this game here, we've got Yaokim moving out. He takes an early expansion and tries to get some defense set up. Blue and yellow aren't slouching on their own expansion. Iris is actually trying to get up to several farms at once on his second base here. This map is really weird. It looks like all players at least have access to a second base. Well, as I say that, you know what? That is so mean. Those bushes, man. Just look at those. They've got some hose, man. There's probably some scythes in that mill. Just cut down a couple of those bushes. Get to that grist mill over there. Del, let's do some music. I know guitar, says Mishi. Do you? That's awesome, man. I've always wanted to do. I don't know if the lag would be too much. Maybe we could do something on Discord. Like, I have an electronic drum set. I live in a condo. Like, I have an acoustic kit. I have a Tama Rockstar with some custom Zildjian cymbals. Nothing super fancy, but gets the job done. I actually play on a small kit. Like, just a really standard, 2 tom-toms, a floor tom, 2 crashes, a ride, hi-hat, double bass pedal. Like, large kits are, I don't want to sound like an elitist or anything, but it's almost like overcompensating, like, unless you're Neil Peart or something, like, you're run-of-the-mill drummer. Like, you don't need a huge kit, man. Like, if you can't play a simple kit and make it sound good, then you probably need to work on your fundamentals. But granted, playing a large kit is really, really fun. Like, I just gig out so often, it's a pain in the ass. Like, I got a gig in St. Augustine in Saturday night. It's either Friday or Saturday night, so in a couple days. And then in July, I've got like 4 or 5 gigs. And we gig out of town. We go to neighboring cities like Tampa and Orlando and play little gigs. So if you're in the Florida area, man, and you want to meet up, there's a good chance at one point I'll probably be playing in some little rock bar in your town. But Yaokim here, going for Owl Wolf. Like, this game is actually really cool. I feel bad I haven't really been commenting on it too much. These guys are just macroing up super hard. I mean, look at this. Melvin Fro's got a bore, but this map is really going to favor green and red the longer this game goes on. Like, yeah, unfortunately for blue and yellow, they just didn't get good gristmill distribution here. No wonder how you could hold your alcohol, says Mishi. Yeah, we did this, like, drinking stream. Oh, that's really cheeky. The turrets came down. We all did this drinking stream with Jed Erickson, and, like, everybody got totally hammered. And they thought I wasn't drinking because I was still, like, acting sober. I was like, no, man, and showed them, like, my 8 beers on the table, dude. Yeah, it's not a good thing. I don't want to brag about my ability to hold my alcohol, but I am no stranger to drinking. Kind of goes hand in hand with the heavy metal scene. Dude, this just looks impossible for blue and yellow at this point. I mean, green and red did a fantastic job muscling out on the map, setting up a nice contain earlier on. And look at this, man. Just tons of balloons, a couple turrets, even artillery cannon going down, and so many bases here. This game wasn't impossible for blue and yellow, but they really needed to do like one base all-in strategies here, as the map is so favored for green and red. Alright, blue and yellow decides it's now or never, man. They got a lot of wolves here, and a boar, and a couple badgers, so this is a nice formidable army if they can find a way to break in, but this barbed wire really covers the outside. Just gonna try to tank through this barbed wire. It could work with the boar. It's so many pigeons. And try to break through to the underbelly of green and red. Is this gonna work? If they can just get in, but the base trade is about to begin here, and green and red have a shorter, less path to cover, I guess I should say, less ground to cover to knock blue and yellow out of this game than blue and yellow can to knock out green and red, right? They're trying to build these gristmills. Oh my god, I think blue and yellow can do this. If they micro this correctly, they've breached the backs, man. They're behind enemy lines. They've got a sizable army that green and red just can't contest. And with taking these other gristmills over to the side, they can possibly stay alive. Is red gonna get knocked out? I'm sorry, green and yellow. Yeah, red gets knocked out. Oh my god. Dude, that was a crazy match. Yellow and blue actually take it out. I think I was saying, I think I got the color. I might have mixed up the colors a little bit there. But yeah, the underdogs there actually take it out by some good decision making, moving out at the right time with a really heavy, high tier 3 army composition, getting into those back lines and wrecking their opponents. Balloons OP, am I right, says Vichy? Dude, that game was sweet. Where are we at here? Dude, are we gonna do 19 tonight? Oh, you know what? You know what, guys? You know what? But yeah, man, I have been considering it for sure. Like, I kind of regretted the name ToothAndTailTV after a little bit, because then it was like, I can't like do other stuff on this channel. But I don't mind it at the same time. You know, I kind of coordinate with the devs, and it's fun. It's fun representing the game, man, and doing this great casting show. But I have been considering opening up a second Twitch channel lately and playing a couple other games and doing drums. I think that would be a lot of fun. Okay, guys, it's been a while, man. It's been a while. Of course, I would not interfere with ToothAndTailTV, guys. I would still keep the schedule. Let me mute my mic and do some nasty sickness stuff real quick. Okay. Okay, guys. We got some bonkage. If you're a longtime fan of the show, you might remember the bonker. Used to submit quite a bit. He took a little break from the game for a couple months, so we haven't seen him lately, but he has submitted tonight, so I wanted to sneak him in. So let's hop into a bonk replay. Alright, spawning into the right. Spawning into the right. Let's try that again. Spawning to the right. We've got bonk. And his opponent to the left does it. Alright, what is bonk whipping out this game? Not super crazy to bonk standards. Like, bonk is almost like the premium bow of 1v1, man. He just doesn't care. Like, he just does the most crazy stuff. Doesn't always quite work, but it's always super entertaining to watch and pretty innovative. But, you know, his deck doesn't look super nuts here. He's going for Badger Pigeon, which is still pretty strong. I think it was stronger when he last was playing the game. But still good combo. And Artillery Cannon's not terrible. Artillery cannon's actually in a pretty good spot right now if you can manage to get it up. It just takes a very long time to build. But Dazit has his own. Look at Dazit, man. Kind of going for a pile-esque build here with a lot of defense. Not running the lizards, though. Instead, Squirrel Falcon. So that's kind of interesting. I wonder what the reasoning is behind that. You know, I think Squirrel Falcon is a cool combo. But the defense style is basically to, like, turtle up, draw your opponent out of position. I almost feel like something like Lizard Owl would be good with like 4 defense, right? Like, so you have two army pieces that are both really powerful to just mass up with. And Squirrel Falcon are kind of like that. They just don't have the mobility that Lizard would give you in this kind of deck setup. But Dazit's already turtling up a little bit here with some turrets. Let's see how Bonk decides to respond. I wouldn't mind seeing a fast expansion from Bonk. And speaking of expansions, this map looks pretty favored for the Bonker here. It's going to be rough for Dazit. Like, Dazit's really committing super hard to these turrets, but he's only on 1 base. So if you're in this kind of situation, man, it can feel bad. It can feel unbalanced. And to be quite frank, it is bad and it is unbalanced. But that's kind of what happens in a game with RNG maps, right? But it's not the end of the world. We see players all the time create innovative ways to deal with situations like this. Like, Dazit could, for example, be really aggressive out on this map and try to take this base, right? And then all of a sudden, he owns every base on the map. And especially with all this defense, he could try to maybe, you know, take this base and start setting up a contain. Or Dazit, you know, he does have these 2 campfires, so another good approach is to simply 1 base all in with those couple campfires to give you a little more juice. But Dazit's just going to throw down a ton of mines here, which can be really devastating if they catch Bonk off guard. I don't think Bonk has seen mines yet. Mines kind of have this, like, oh, I think you just saw those building there. But mines have this, I don't think diminishing return is the right word. Oh, that was barbed wire, I'm sorry. But the mines, I think they're the most effective before they're scouted. Like, obviously, like, duh, but what I mean by that is, like, before the first mine goes off, right? Because before you, like, mines aren't super meta. They're okay units. They're not terrible, but you don't see them ran that often, so people aren't going to expect them, right? And then all of a sudden you move your army out and you get triggered by like 4 or 5 mines. You're just like, whoa. But after you've, you know, been hit by the mines once, now you know, okay, my opponent's got mines in the deck. Maybe I need to, you know, walk my tier 2 forward a little bit, try to mine sweep with them, or kind of inch my army up. You're going to be more paranoid and play around the mines a bit more. So, look at that. Like, a lot of mines go off, but they kill a ferret there. But more importantly, Bonk knows that mines are out on the map now. And Dazit's not in position with his army, so this ferret from Bonk is going to get some damage done. Now, Dazit keeps wanting to come up here, and I think it's to try to take this base like I was saying earlier. If he could take this base and set up some defense, you know, maybe some barbed wire, a turret, then eventually an artillery cannon. That artillery cannon would probably be in range of Bonk's bases. But here we go. Dazit's going to move in for a big attack. I didn't mute my microphone. Oh, man. My bad, guys. I'm sorry for being sick. I've had to mute and, like, cough or blow my nose, like, 5 times a night, so I missed muting once. I apologize, guys. Hashtag production value. Alright, Bonk takes some damage there, but he's not down and out. Dazit with a lot of squirrels, but in the meantime, this Badger's almost out for Bonk. If he can just hold on long enough to get this Badger out. Nice denial on an expansion again from Dazit here. Ooh, he might be overcommitting on this Gristmill. Like, he just kind of reverse Gristmill tanked himself, right? Like, he should have tried to knock out Bonk's army and then target the Gristmill. So Bonk takes an overwhelming victory there. And now he's got the Badger. And this is looking pretty rough for Dazit. He fell for it. Oh, you guys are so bad. So I did mute my microphone. And you guys in the chat are trolling me. Okay. I like that situation better than me not muting the microphone. I'm trusting massive stealth. Dude. I'm so don't take advantage of my fragility while I'm streaming, guys. Like I am way too trusting of the chat. Like if the chat was like, Delthius, you forgot to put pants on, I'd be like, oh my god. I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not on camera. You guys don't know if I'm wearing pants. But my initial reaction would be to trust you guys. And you guys are cruel. Alright, man, I think Bonk is in dominating position here. He's got a nice, well-rounded army. With his tier 3, with the skunks to deal with all these squirrels here. As long as he doesn't botch this engagement, he should be fine. Daz is moving in. But he's not going to have enough. Great victory there for Bonk, and you should just be able to take the game from there. Yeah, Daz knows it's over. We know when you are wearing pants. Am I wearing pants right now is the question. Well, now we know you don't. Trusting Massive Stealth is risky. Well, for you guys, not for me. I get Massive Stealth honesty privileges. Okay. Alright, so what's the vote? Am I wearing pants or am I not wearing pants? It is Florida, and it is very hot. So consider that. You know what? We should stop this. You guys should stop envisioning me with no pants on. That's a bad idea. Isn't that like what you're not supposed to do when you're performing in front of people? Isn't that like the opposite when you like the old like, oh, just imagine the audience in their underwear. You know, that old gag on the old cartoons, and then it backfires and you imagine yourself in your underwear in front of everybody. Anyways, guys, let's hop into match number 15. But I am a classy man, says Valeris. Yeah, that is true. So it is Florida. It is very hot, but I am classy. Alright, so spawning at the bottom, we've got Violin. And his opponent up top, Red Dino. Dude, look at this lake in the middle. I was just thinking about an ice mechanic. That would be kind of weird. Like, maybe an ice mechanic where, like, your units move faster when they're on the ice because they're, like, slipping through it, but then they don't fire or something. I don't know, that'd probably be really bad. I don't know what I'm talking about. But anyways, guys, into this game. Owls from both players, Balloon from both players. And not a whole lot besides that to really mention. Violin does have the mine, so we might see that cheeky situation where, again, I feel like the first couple of mine strikes are the best. Like, Classic Metal tilted me. I think it was in Tooth and Tail League games or something. Because he knows I run Fox a lot, and you don't expect mines. So I rushed the Fox. You know, he knew the Fox was coming, but I looked at his army comp. I was like, dude, he's got nothing to deal with this. I moved my Fox out to start harassing him and run it right into 3 mines, and it dies, and that was basically game. So, like, mines can be amazing in situations like that. But I think they do lose value a little bit after your opponent recognizes you're running them. But this is it's not necessarily the biggest map in the world, but this water, this frozen lake in the middle, makes it difficult to attack into one another. Now, Violin should be feeling pretty good here. He's got 3 easy bases here, and he's got a 4th base that's doable, and a couple campfires to boot. And Red Dino does have a natural expansion, so he's not totally screwed on this map, but expanding into a 3rd base from there would be difficult. No pants and a beer in hand. I wish, man. Suit and tie, that would be good. Dude, no beer. I should have a beer. No beer tonight, man. I've been too sick for beer. You know what? I probably should be drinking beer, because doesn't alcohol... You're a chemist, Mishi? Isn't, like, alcohol, isn't that gonna, like, kill stuff? So maybe it'll kill the germs? Is that why, like, old school doctors would just, like, prescribe whiskey and stuff? Like, oh, you're sick, just drink some whiskey, you know? Maybe that's the move. Yeah, no beer tonight, man. Alright, the correct answer is I'm not wearing pants, I'm wearing shorts. But that does count as I have a modest amount of clothes on. I'm not just casting in my underwear. Alright, so Violin does have his skunks, and snakes are on the way. Meanwhile, so kind of similar situations for both players. A similar amount of tier 1, you know, both of them going into some tier 2. Red Dino taking that expansion. I wouldn't be surprised to see Violent expand here shortly as well. And I don't know, like, Red Dino's got to make a move, but he doesn't have to make a move now. We're only at the 3-minute mark, so he's got a little bit of time. He needs to make a move about like the 5 or 6 o'clock position. And see, I don't like this mine because it's going to trigger. It's not going to get anything done, and now Red Dino knows that mines are a possibility. So he's going to play safer. He's going to move his ferrets up front to try to soak mine hits. As if doctors need to tell me to drink whiskey. When I was sick, they'd give me tequila with a lemon. Nice. Golf team and company logo and a man purse with tools. Dude, I love these answers. We need to start a new segment on the show. Guess what Delthius is wearing, and then I'll put on like silly clothes and like go on camera real quick. That would be fun. I don't think I have enough silly clothes though. I mainly just own like business casual attire, like blue jeans and collared shirts, or like camo shorts and band t-shirts. It's really my that sounds wildly inappropriate. You know, now that you mention it, it could be. It just depends. Like, I was thinking, like, more like, you know, like a cowboy hat or something. Okay? Okay. I forget about the dirty minds on the internet from time to time. Cowboy hats are pretty silly, though. I gotta say. So not a whole lot to mention so far. Both players going up to 2 base. Nice little balloon here from Red Dino, but it is avoidable if Violin wants to take the trek through the waters. We're getting up to Owls here. Both players on half base saturation on their second. Pretty mirror stuff at this point. I could use the squid hat. That is true. Alright, man. Alright, maybe you're right, Shady Noodle Merchant. Maybe it does sound inappropriate. I try to keep things classy here on the feast. Oh. Yeah, see, this is something I feel like is a little bit underutilized against balloons, man. Those 2 snakes went in. Yeah, the big engagement happened and the snakes died at the beginning of the engagement, but the 2 snakes went in and just got 3 stacks of poison on the balloon, and I think that would have been enough damage to kill a balloon, right? In some countries, it's inappropriate. Oh, man. See, if I was Mishi, dude, I would use being a foreigner to just make up like ridiculous stuff. Be like, man, in my country, it's totally appropriate to drink vodka at 9:30 in the morning on a Tuesday. And it's like, well, I can't disprove you. All right, snake moving in. Some nice toad engagements. Overall, Violent is gonna take this fight. Needs to be careful to target fire down these toads, though. Don't underestimate toads. Toads in small numbers like this, if you're really on top of it, you can target fire down those pretty quickly and mitigate that AoE damage. I use that all the time, the foreigner excuse, man. I would totally do it. Are you kidding me? Mishi, why are you late to work? Well, in my country, if you say I gotta be here at 8 a.m., that really means I'm expected to be here at like 8:20. You know? That's a good line, man. Alright, mine hit goes off, but it's not too impactful. Nice toad engagement there from Red Dino. That might be enough to give him an edge in this fight, but that skunk gas is absolutely brutal. This Falcon on the side, though, burning down the units for Violin. I like the cancel on that farm. Just trying to get as much money as he can to try to do something about this engagement. Red Dino needs to be careful, though. He doesn't have any units to buffer for these tier 2, and they're going to start dropping. He might be able to get out of here with the ferrets, though. Ooh, this rally from Red Dino is actually hurting. Like, it was kind of cool when it happened with the Falcon, but these units kind of drudging through the water slowly is really hurting the Dino here. But he kind of recognizes that, backs out, gonna let everything re-rally. And I think this is the right move from Red Dino. Like, he's been very aggressive here, as he should be. Because, again, he simply can't sit back and let Violin macro. Because Violin has 2 extra gristmills on him. Is Red Dino gonna have enough? A beautiful fight there for Red Dino. These Toads really doing a lot of work for him this game. And now he's got enough army left to try to come in, but look at that reproduction of squirrels here for Violin. And that is going to be enough to push Dino back. Dino doesn't have Skunks, but to help deal with these squirrel numbers, but the Toads have certainly been helping. But I feel like Dino is just overextending a little bit with these push-ins, man. Like, basically, when the tier 1 all starts dropping, man, he needs a boogie out of there. I feel like if Red Dino was keeping the tier 2 alive in these fights, he would be in a much better spot. But he's not out of this game yet. Its economy is still healthy. And yeah, Violin has all these gristmills on the map, but he hasn't really been able to take advantage of them. He did have this campfire going over here, but it's mined out at this point. And the second base from Violin is really never, you know, seen full utilization. All right, man. Red Dino gonna try to move in with just Squirrel Toad. Dude, I'm jealous that... Is that a South American thing too? I know it's a European thing, right? Like a midday nap. That's probably a good idea. It's supposed to be really healthy for you. I can't take naps though, man. My wife takes naps. I can't do it. Like, even if I'm on 3 hours of sleep or something, which happens more often than it should because I'm irresponsible. I'm like irresponsible and responsible at the same time. It's like I stayed up till 3 in the morning playing video games, but I still have to wake up at 6 for work. Oh, these 2 mines can be huge. Oh my god! Those mines got so much damage done. That's exactly what Violin needed. Wow, what a good hold for him, man. Red Dino's army looked phenomenal. Those were the nice mine shots he's been looking for all game long. That was incredible for him there. The money mines. But yeah, man, I can't take naps, dude. It's good for you. You're supposed to do it. Yeah, I think it is a South American thing, too, because I used to work with this older gentleman named Felipe, who's from Chile, and he would always take a nap on lunch break. But I can't do it. If I take a nap in the middle of the day, I'll just wake up feeling tired, like, for the rest of the day. That was a nice engagement that time around for Red Dino. I would have loved to see Violin just kind of build a few more mines. Like, he knew this was going to be the attack path, right? So he could have punished that again. But Red Dino takes it, man. I was kind of on the edge of my seat that whole game. Like, those engagements just kind of kept going back and forth. But Red Dino had a superior economy, which certainly helped him out. He had some really good toe connection. But those mine shots were a work of art, man. I thought that might have been enough for Violin to take the game. Woo! Alright, guys. It's 10:30. I think I'm gonna do one more and probably call it after that. I've got I Bleed the Fifth in chat. I don't know if Premium Bow's still around, but we never get to see Premium Bow 1v1s, guys. So I think we'll end the night. Oh, you know what? No. Well, okay, we'll do 2 more, okay? I want to get to Epic Story Guy versus Seraphim, because that's, we haven't seen those guys yet tonight. I think we saw Seraphim in a team game. And then we'll do Premium Bow afterwards. I have a feeling this Premium Bow game's probably not very long. Valeris too, man. I don't know, maybe I should just do the rest of them. I thought you went to sleep, Valeris. Spawning in the bottom left, we've got Epic Story Guy. I mean, I've come this far, right? Spawning to the right, we've got Seraphim. I don't know. Maybe we can get to them all. I'll just fast forward when needed. Speaking of fast forward, I might fast forward a little bit here as the game starts, and we see what's going to happen in this match. No tier 3 from either player. We got some Squirrel Toadage here for Epic Story Guy. But other than that, nothing looks super crazy. This map is, it's weird. I guess it's better for Seraphim, I guess. But it's kind of awkward for both players. Like, Epic Story Guy is going to get these 2 bases pretty easily. Like, it's just going to be a little bit spread out earlier on, but I don't think it's going to be the biggest deal in the world as Seraphim doesn't have lizards. So yeah, I like Epic Story Guy's position if he can kind of take this entire high ground here and get that campfire and those couple extra bases. Because Seraphim, you know, this one base is really easy for him. This base is going to be difficult to take, and this one is going to be basically out of the question. So it looks like a quick skunk opening here for Seraphim. He heard you weren't wearing pants and got up to watch. Oh my god. How dare you? Can't time Master Stealth out for that statement. That's hilarious. Alright, so Story Guy, yeah, I was curious if Story Guy was going to kind of take this expansion route or up here. I mean, you might as well. If he can take this expansion and get some turrets established, he can probably zone Seraphim off from ever taking this base. It would kind of lock Seraphim into 2 base, but instead goes for the safer approach of getting that back base, which I like. But Seraphim's got a strong army right now, man. If he moved out, he could get some damage done, but I think that window is closing as the snakes are getting here. I feel bad, man. I think Valeris was next on the list, and I just skipped right over him. I didn't realize you were still watching, man. Yeah, Premium Bow and Massive Stealth have a role reversal here, man. Premium Bow's got the power. Why isn't Massive Stealth a mod? He should be a mod of this channel. But do I want to take that away from Premium Bow, man? Like, I do have other mods, but Premium Bow is, like, the mod. Like, I think Mishi's technically a mod, but he doesn't really do mod things. Dude, you guys, if you haven't seen the TnT Tactics videos Mishi's been putting out, man, definitely check those out. I like them a lot. I like that they're short formatted. Like, they're only, like, 5 minutes long, which I think is great for YouTube content. And they're pretty informative, man. I learned a couple tricks from it. Let me mute Massive so you can see I do things, he says. Have you ever muted, like, I mean, it's fine. I'm not gonna, like, take mod away from you, Mishi, but, like, have you ever muted somebody being naughty in the chat? Or banned someone, like, done mod things like that? Normally my chat's pretty good, man. We don't really get anybody, like, actually really, you know, being inappropriate in the chat. Most of the time the bans and the mutes and stuff are just kind of gags, but nice engagement here. Epic Story Guy trying to harass with these snakes and gets punished. He loses a couple snakes and Seraphim uses that as a trigger to move out, get some damage done. I like this pullback from Seraphim. He's not going to overcommit. He's just going to kind of re-rally. He's got the pigeons to give him some high ground vision. He's got 4 ferrets out, which I think is kind of underrated, man. You don't see guys going up to 4 ferrets too often. Yeah, I don't blame you for that at all, Mishi. Like, I think a couple times we've had, like, spammers come into the chat, but we really haven't had anyone in the chat really acting up to the point where it's, like, worthy of a ban. Maybe Kermit the Frog when he was active, but it was almost kind of like a gag with Frog. I always felt like it wasn't a TnT TV show without muting Frog at least once. All right, so we got these ferret wars going on, man. I think Epic Story Guy needs to get a couple more ferrets under his belt. Otherwise, Seraphim might just get, you know, the better edge on these pokes here. Anyone know what happened to that guy? To the frog? I think he just kind of stopped playing, man. Seraphim knocks out that expansion. Not the end of the world for Epic Story though, as his real expansion is tucked up back here. Now, is Seraphim aware of that? No, he's not. But he might have guessed. Like, he knows those gristmills are there. He hasn't been able to get in and scout. He's trying to find his way over there at the moment. But it's hard. Like, this high ground from Epic Story Guy makes it hard for Seraphim to really gauge how strong Epic Story Guy's army is at the moment. We're almost 8 minutes into this game. Alright, we got some poke. Dude, that snake was like tanking it with those that healing, man. The nine pigeons. I am gonna fast forward a little bit throughout maybe the next couple of matches when I can, just to try to fit in the last few into the show. That's actually looking pretty good for Epic Story Guy there. He got up his ferret count. Like, when do you start getting up to like 4 to 6 ferrets? I've mentioned this on previous shows, but you can almost treat ferret shots as like probability and statistics kind of thing, right? Like, you know, there's an X chance of, you know, them actually landing a shot if your opponent's utilizing micro. And against 2 ferrets, you know, if you micro correctly, you can basically prevent shots from like ever landing. But when you get up to like 4 to 6 to 8 ferrets, like, you're just gonna land the shots, man. It's like buying more lotto tickets. No, well, that's actually not accurate, because buying more lotto tickets really doesn't increase your chance of winning the lotto by, like, at all. It's a common misconception. Like, you don't, if you buy 100 tickets, you don't have a 100 out of a billion chance. You have 100 1 out of a billion chances, if that makes sense. So I think Seraphim is getting the better edge on this engagement, but a lot of his ferrets are going down. The skunk, though, man, the skunk is really, I think, the sleeper hero in this matchup. Like, kind of the ferrets are taking, you know, a lot of the credit because they're flashy, but man, the skunks have really been making a difference in these like prolonged engagements. But Epic Story Guy's got enough to rally him back for now. This game has been an absolute bloodbath. I think Epic Story Guy, though, might have gotten enough value out of that last trade. I think this is really smart from these guys, too, like selling off these Warrens. I feel like that's underutilized by players. You know, as these economies are diminishing, or even if your economy is being sustained, you know, if you've been saving up for this big army all game long, you're not going to have enough money to reinforce it 100%. Like, I feel like that really separates like good players from great players. You know, like a big engagement goes down, we both have big armies. You know, I might go home and sell off a couple of Warrens just to be able to produce the units that I can actually afford a little bit faster, where my opponent might, you know, be what we call supply blocked when your Warren is in the red. And that's just money that could be used to make less units more quickly, if that makes sense. Like, especially right here, man. Like, I'd love to see couple of these Warrens get sold off. Yeah, look at that. Seraphim selling off a couple Warrens. Story Guy selling off a couple Warrens. It's very, very good play. If you don't really use that in your gameplay, I'd recommend trying to get in the habit of utilizing that, because the economies for both players are starting to crumble here. You know, we're down to only a few farms left, and maybe a campfire or two if those things are still active. Another big push in, and not quite enough to break it. Alright, Epic Story Guy moving in yet again. These snakes might be enough, though, man. Snakes are great against tier 2 units. Knock out that skunk basically for free. The snakes are moving in. And get that ferret, too. And I like this back out from Epic Story Guy. He loses a snake, but he ends up getting 2 tier 2s of his opponent for his troubles. And I like this gristmill here as well. Not necessarily to mine off, which, like, yeah, I might as well throw down a farm or two. But just for the territory, man. And Seraphim's in a rough spot. Like, he doesn't really have a third base option. He's got to in the game right here, right now. And I think he might have missed his window. I think Epic Story Guy's economy is just too much better at this point, especially with that last pig going down. Well, that should be all she wrote. Seraphim really doesn't have anything left. Great play from both players. I feel like if Seraphim did have a bit easier access to a third base, we might have been going back and forth even longer in this game. But Epic Story Guy did do a good job of taking this third base rather than that one. Again, and it zones out this third base from Seraphim. If Epic Story Guy took the safer third base, you know, in the top left, then Seraphim might have had an opportunity to take that third to the southwest of his second expand, if that makes sense, and get more economy. All right, let me grab another drink real quick. Man, my throat's about to give out on me. Yeah, let's hop into Premium Bow versus I Bleed the Fifth. All right, spawning on the right, we've got Premium Bow. And his opponent up top, I Bleed the Fifth. Premium Bow with some crazy nonsense here, man. Snake, owl, wolf, turret, balloon, cannon. That is crazy. No tier 1. And I believe the fifth is running much more of a standard setup. You know, 2 tier 1, 2 tier 2, a fox and balloon. You know, ferret, fox plus turret or balloon really synergize well together. The skunks in there makes sense to help deal with tier 1, but there's not going to be tier 1 from Premium Bow this game. But Premium Bow does have owls, which the skunks can't help against. But man, Premium Bow with the premium strats, going for that 5 farm snake. All right, let's see. I bleed the fifth. All right. Okay, is he rushing me? All right. He doesn't have warrens up here. All right. Okay, he must be wait, what? A tier 2 warren off 5 farms. What do I do about that? I guess I just build a couple warrens? Was that the thought process there? Did I nail it? You're like, are we casting my game? Oh god, it's this game. Oh no. Yeah, I feel bad. I'm surprised I haven't had more people complain about that because, you know, it's like when you submit a replay, you know, it's not like the other guy agreed to be, you know what I'm saying? Like Premium Bow submitted this without his opponent's knowledge and not picking up Premium Bow, but that's just kind of how the show works, man. But I've never really had anybody complain about that. I'm really surprised because I've done this. I mean, this is show 59, man. So I'm well over 100 hours of casting. So, dude, I kind of regretted the other day not keeping all the XML files of like every game I've casted. But if we just do a little bit of interpolation and say I've probably cast more than 100 hours of Tooth and Tail, right? And let's say the average game is 10 minutes long. So that's 6 games per hour. So I've casted somewhere in the ballpark of 600 to 1,000 games of Tooth and Tail. That's insane. And I've never like had anybody like be salty for the most part about you know, their game getting on stream without really their consent, I guess. Because too, you got to think about it. Like if I submit a replay, 9 times out of 10 people submit wins. So it's like everybody's gonna watch me lose. What if you lost in like a really embarrassing way or something? Ooh, nice job from I Bleed the Fifth breaking out of that gristmill, but he's still got to worry about all this defense here. I haven't really been commentating much on this, but Premium Bo has been doing some phenomenal work with these snakes here, man. And now he's bought enough time for this artillery cannon to get down. And that's basically going to zone I Bleed the Fifth into his base. Like, he's not totally zoned. This range is pretty enormous, but I Bleed the Fifth can still sneak around the side, maybe try to come in like that and hit Premium Bo's main. But it's going to be tough for I Bleed the Fifth to expand now. I complain every time, says Master Stealth. Yeah, but I don't take you seriously. I mean, like, legit complaining. Like, somebody's, like, really mad. But I just think it's because we have such a cool community, man. Like, everyone's pretty chill. Plus, you know what? I mean, if you're on a game that you lost, most of the time my casting is not very critical. On, like, I don't really crap talk people for bad play or for weird builds and stuff. So, to be honest, like, maybe you'd be happy. It's like, oh, I had a loss on ToothAndTailTV, but Delthius gave me some constructive criticism with his top-notch A+ world-class analysis, right? And you pick up a tip or two. So there you go. Oh, it's so rough. Like, I love this artillery cannon balloon combo. Like, yeah, I mean, high level. Like, I got super hyped about it, and then Pillow 8 had to, like, crush my dreams, where he's like, well, you can just spot with your commander. But still, man, because, like, artillery cannon has longer range than it has with vision, right? And then what's a unit that grants a ton of vision? Well, the balloon. So now this artillery cannon has the vision. Like, look at that range. Oh, my God. It outranges the ferrets, man. What can you do about that? I Bleed the Fifth. Yeah, it's like I plead the Fifth. The Fifth Amendment, where you don't have to incriminate yourself. Basically, you have the right to remain silent. Man, that's such a brutal combo. Like, look at that, dude. What do you do about it? I Bleed the Fifth is trying, man. Like, ferrets seem like they should be the answer here. And they very well could be the answer if this balloon wasn't here. Like, that balloon just is doing such a good job with the vision. Now the snakes are going to get in. Tag down a ferret. Ooh, yeah, should die. There it goes. But the snake did die in the process. But now the owls are out. And the owls are just going to annihilate these ferrets. I Bleed the Fifth is trying to get over here, like I was saying earlier, and kind of just go around the defense. That's always a great option. When somebody's invested into that defense, to just simply like, okay, well, I'll attack you where the defense isn't. You actually don't have to incriminate your wife either, isn't that correct? I'm pretty sure that's correct. Like, if my wife murdered somebody and I knew about it, I can't be considered, what's the word? Like, it's like a better word for like an element in the crime, an accessory to the crime, or protecting a fugitive or something along the lines. There's like a proper term for it. I'm blanking on it. But yeah, you don't have to incriminate your wife either. You finished an attempt at metalhead pigeons. Dude, thank you for trying, man. That's super cool. Dude, do a little bit of iteration, man. What can we do? It's not a lot of pigeons. I mean, not a lot of pixels is what I meant to say. I'm getting tired, guys. Sorry. I was gonna say like a chain wallet or something, but there might, like, you know what I mean, like a chain, like, or like a piercing, but I just don't think there's enough pixels for that. Like an anarchy symbol. Yeah, it's just not enough room. I don't know, man. It's tough. I think like black and red is pretty metal, you know, with a mohawk. Some spikes or something. Some sweet racing stripes. I don't know, man. Accomplice. That was the word I was looking for. Okay, guys. You know, I actually did a bonus replay, so if I make it through these last two, that's 20. I did 20 replays tonight. Normally I do 12. Don't say I never did anything for you. Here we go, guys. Game number 16. Liberty spikes. Yeah, that would be cool. Dude, I want Metalhead Pigeon, man. It just makes sense because they headbang. You know what I'm saying? Spawning to the right, we've got Big Pimpatosh. And his opponent to the left, Jet Erickson. I actually really enjoy casting with Jet Erickson. I think we have really good synergy, but it's just the time zone difference is too much, man. Unfortunately. So we see Owl Balloon from both players here. Big Pimpatosh picking up them arty cannons and also the moles. So he's got the capability to go for like a big lizard mole push. We didn't see him do any kind of mole shenanigans in the early game. Hey, take it easy. I believe the 5th. Have a good night. I'll be joining you here shortly. I made it this far, man. I think I could do a couple more matches. You guys will just have to deal with Delirious Delthius a little bit. Alright, Big Pimpatosh. Trying to do a mole rush, but just a little bit of shenanigans. Jet Erickson spots it though, so he cuts it out. And Jet Erickson also kind of built, I wasn't paying super close attention, but maybe a 7 farm more in there, which would give him a little bit of extra defense against something like that. And we're going to take it to a regular game from here. I am going to fast forward a little bit for the sake of my sanity. Fast pace from Jet Erickson coming up. Meanwhile, Pimpatosh just grabs that campfire. And so far, so good. We're at the 2-minute mark. And expansion goes up for Tosh here. And both players kind of probably want to do like an expand, get a balloon, you know, maybe a little bit of tier 2 and try to get into owls. And this map is slight. Oh, you know what? Actually, I love this out of Tosh, man. Oh, that's so good. If he can get away with it. Jet Erickson really needs to spot this right here, right now. The longer he waits, the harder this is going to get to defend. He sees it. But Tosh doesn't have a whole lot. He's going to have to build some moles or something. Is Jet just not going to move out? I think it's too late. Tosh is going to get away with that. That is huge, man. Now it's going to be difficult. We see this balloon turret cannon combo again. I like these safety moles. He sells those off. That was such good play from Tosh. You know, I love those moles right there. Just kind of, you know, all right, is Jet going to try to come in at the last minute before this cannon's up? If he is, I want to have a couple moles ready because I don't have a whole lot of units, but ends up not needing them and sells them off. And Jet just decides, you know what, I can play from this position. I'm not super worried about it. And Jet still does have access to 3 bases. So this map actually is more even than it looks at first glance. Like, both players basically have 3 bases and a campfire. Tosh's campfire is a little bit easier. And this base will probably just never get taken. Maybe Tosh takes it, but I highly doubt it. Ooh, Tosh snags that other campfire, though. Not going to be the biggest deal in the world, as campfires are the most important on that 1 base situation. But it still helps. Every little bit of extra food is always good. Yeah, Artie Balloon is super cool, man. Look at that range. I mean, what do you do? Risky campfire. I'm sure Jet will eventually take this down, but it's only got to live for like a minute or two to warrant its existence. Ooh, why can't that? I wonder why that's not getting fired upon. Why didn't... I wish I could rewind. Like, why is the arty cannon not firing on it? But it was firing on it a second ago when the units went over, because it's got vision on it, right? Is it just must be barely out of range. Like the last tile. But it's shooting to that tile, right? Yeah, look at that. Jet, oh, that must be like right on the edge of the diagonal, maybe? Jet just calculates like the exact spot where that's out of range. Look at that other balloon up too, just giving so much information to Big Pimpatosh here. Yeah, now that Campfire gets taken out, I think it lasted for a good few minutes. We're at the 5-minute 30 mark here. Owl's coming out for both players. Oh, already a scatter, so might have gotten the rando nearby. That makes sense. Like, it can't quite shoot where that balloon was, but if Jet placed something in the tile, like here was the balloon, so that's like barely at, so the range is right here. So if it could shoot right here, it could scatter and hit that one, is basically what you're saying. Sometimes I forget I can like bring the mouse on screen and point to things. It's not it's not ideal most of the time, but it helps when I'm trying to talk about little things like that. Look at this from Tosh, man. Another artillery cannon going down. Blech. How have I never noticed that sound? I like the puke sound from the owls. Oh god, my commentary deteriorated that much. I am not getting tired, you guys. Bleh, bleh. Listen to all those puke sounds. I mean, I feel like Tosh has the edge here. Now Jet is getting up a better expansion faster. And he's got the skunks to help deal with all these mice. But Tosh decides to pull the trigger. Doesn't quite have enough to totally break Jet, but takes an okay trade. Keeps the owls alive, which is the most important part. Dude. What are you talking about, Vlad Lad? It's like so insightful, man. It is a cool sound. Uh-oh. I don't like how forward these owls are been taken. Like, he's trying to tank with the owls, which is an art form, and it's good to try to get down, but you gotta be careful, man. Really don't want to lose those owls. Jet's trying to find an angle where he's not under this constant fire of the artillery cannon, but it just really doesn't exist here for him. As long as Tosh doesn't overextend too far away, but these falcons are a great addition. Man, I feel like Falcon Owl just pairs together so well. Like, Owl, Falcon, Skunk, something like that, I think is nice synergy. Blech. We have more commentary like this, it's funny. Dude. Oh god, that owl is getting so low. 5 HP, 3 HP. Jet's got the superior owl count. I'm only funny when I'm delirious, man. If I'm like energetic and awake, then like I'm just super serious. But when I get delirious, I kind of relax a bit more. Oh man, loses the owl, but an owl goes down for Jet as well. And I don't know, man. I mean, it's an owl versus owl game. You know, I feel like Tosh is slowly starting to take it, but Jet does have the better economy. Tosh hasn't really saturated up his third base yet here. Oh, but Tosh just might have a little too much to push in. Oh, does he get the gristmill? It's close. Gets the gristmill. These owls are starting to drop here from Jet. Overextends with those falcons and loses them though. And those owls just barely alive for Jet, but Jet's starving now. He's gonna have to sell off a couple squirrel warrens. When you primarily comment on TnT, it's interesting to hear stuff unrelated, like when you're talking about drumming earlier, says Vlad Lad of the chat. Yeah, I try to mix it up. I feel like some people like it and some people hate it. And I kind of, I can see, but I think both opinions are valid. Nice game there from Tosh, man. I was really impressed with him getting out on the map and getting that RD down. Like, that's why when he was trying to get that artillery cannon out, I was worried. Like, for one, Jet didn't scout it as quickly as he could have. And then by the time Jet scouted it, he just decided, okay, maybe the balloon's going to be up too fast, and maybe he thought that window passed. But I think the game was really downhill from there for Jet. You know, getting that forward artillery balloon combo. But yeah, man, some people love it, some people hate it when you talk about other things. I personally like it when casters do that. Like, I watch StarCraft religiously. That's kind of what inspired me to want to do casting. And when Tooth and Tail came out, I was like, hey, I know a lot about RTS. I can cast, you know. I'll give it a shot. I'd never done casting before this. Yeah, I like it when Tasteless talks about different things in the early game. You know, some people hate it though. They're like, talk about the game, which again, I think both opinions are valid. It's just personal preference, I guess. Okay, guys, last game of the night. I did 20 replays tonight. That's quite a bit. My voice is starting to give out, but I got one more in me, man. We saved actually a really epic game for last year. Valeris versus Gentleman, two of the best players in Tooth and Tail. So let's end the night on a high note here and hop into the action. All right, spawning at the bottom, we've got the Gentleman. And his opponent up top, Valeris. Interesting deck from Valeris. I like the style. You know, the high defense, but I think the units that he's got together in this really complement one another. You know, Squirrel to just kind of make it through the early game. Ferrets, you'd be surprised, man. With some good micro, like, I feel like Ferret is a very viable tier 2 rush option. Like, I feel like Squirrel Ferret can go toe-to-toe and beat Squirrel Skunk. I do it all the time in my games. You just got to be really on point with your ferrets and harass a lot with them. The thing about ferrets is you can't, it's almost like the fox where, like, when you get your ferrets out, you can't be passive. If your opponent doesn't have something that can punish them, like a lizard, for example, like, just walk across the map and start poking, man. And then stutter step backwards. You know, it's okay if they take a couple shots. They've got a nice HP pool. Obviously, you can't lose them, but, you know, picking off a Warren and killing a couple tier 1 units, by the time that push comes, you've bled him down a little bit. Del likes puke sound. I gotta check out that clip. Thanks for the tutorial shout out, says Mishi. Yeah, man. Thanks for making the tutorials. They're really cool, man. Definitely check those out. Tooth and Tail Tactics, Mishi, if you type that in on YouTube. He's made 3. I expect more, man. I like him a lot. I like the, it's funny because I do like a long style show, but I don't think it translates to YouTube very well. It would translate to YouTube if I was not as lazy and I actually broke out every single match, because then it would be like 5 to 10 minute videos, but I don't want to do all that, man. I barely keep just throwing, like, you know, an edited VOD on YouTube without the 10-minute intro. Like, I could barely keep up with that, man. I think that's the way to do it, though. Like, Clash of Comrades would do that, but Clash of Comrades did, like, tournament matches where it makes a bit more sense. And plus, they had, like, more of a team, like, in their heyday. They're not really active anymore. But during the alpha of Tooth and Tail and shortly after launch, Clash of Comrades is a nice group of people that put together high-quality Tooth and Tail tournament content. But there's several people involved with that. Like, they would have TOs, tournament organizers, they'd have casters, they'd have a guy who edits the videos and, you know, makes the overlays and stuff. So it's just me here, man. It's only Delthius. All right, so where are we at in this game? Valeris is taking a fast expand and getting out a ferret, and it looks pretty standard from here. Gentleman is doing a similar approach, but he went for a fast 2 tier 2. I kind of like to theory craft on these kind of 2 openings. Maybe one day of Mishi, if you're still around the chat, or if you have an opinion on it, you know, like, what's better, like, a tier, like a, you know, the traditional 2 tier 1 into tier 2 and then a bunch of tier 1 and push out with like 12, 15 tier 1 in your tier 2, or going for something similar but getting the tier 2 tier 2 in there instead. Yeah, I'm not so sure, man. I think both approaches are viable. I feel like the 2 tier 2 opening is slightly more risky, but when one of those is a skunk, it's kind of good. I don't think Falcons are the best tier 2 to rush out first, but depending on the engagement they take, they actually do very well against Squirrel. Like, this army the Gentleman has is very anti-Squirrel, man. The Gentleman pushing in for a big engagement here. Ooh, the re-rally, though, getting taken out from the balloon. Is Valeris going to hold? It looks like it. That was very costly for the Gentleman. The big difference there is that the Gentleman lost 4 tier 2 units, and Valeris kept his ferrets alive. So I really like Valeris' position in this game. And plus his second base is already saturated. Gentleman's going to start working on his. But yeah, it's kind of Valeris' game to lose at this point. Yeah, I'd like to do, like, we can stream it. That'd be pretty fun. We could do it maybe on your channel or something. But even if we don't, like, we're just hanging out and chip, I'd like to get a group of us together. Maybe, like, the guys on the balance committee. Gentleman trying to push in for another attack, though. And without ferrets of his own, it's going to be difficult to come in here. Like, Valeris is just going to constantly keep this ferret poke going. Well, I think it'd be fun when we have time to, like, get together in the Discord and just like run some like theory craft kind of games, you know, like, all right, you know, go for that balloon opening and I'm gonna go Squizzard and just try to break it, and it's like, what's the right timing to break it, you know what I mean? And like kind of stress test a bunch of that stuff. We should really do that on the PTR for the upcoming balance changes, and, you know, be like responsible members of the, you know, Tooth and Tail community team, I guess. I don't know what to call it. All right, so again, man, I feel like Valeris is in a good spot, but Gentleman's not down and out just yet. He's getting a strong economy up himself. Maybe he can tech into that ferret and try to get something done there, but Valeris's composition here is just super powerhouse. Like, balloons are great. You know what? Like, after, I mean, the changes that, you know, we're talking about with the PTR, you know, the Pocket Bot was played on the PTR the other day, and Mishi streamed that on his channel, at least from his perspective, so you can check that out if you want. But there's a pretty decent balloon change where it's only going to fire once every 3 seconds and do 15 damage per hit. So yeah, I mean, that's like a big nerf to the balloon in a sense. But I wonder if that's going to encourage this like artillery balloon play to be a little more prevalent, right? Because I feel like when we're discussing the power of the balloon, you really can't underutilize or underemphasize the vision that you get. Like, that's enormous, man. Because Tooth and Tail is all about positioning. Like, compared to other RTS games, yeah, like, you don't need the hardcore mechanics. You know, there is micro, but it's not as intensive as other games. But the real thing with Tooth and Tail, man, is being out of position, like, and having all this extra vision. You know, you can see when your opponent's moving out so much faster and get in the right spot more quickly, which can be absolutely game-changing. That's my opinion on it. I do, however, try not to use the show as a platform for my opinions on balance. I try to not really comment too much on that kind of stuff. But I'm just saying, you know, keep in mind how powerful the vision alone of the balloon is. I like this response from the Gentleman. You know, he's taken a couple bad engagements here, and he's just going to take a big risk, which I think makes sense while you're behind, and just super saturate up this third base. Valeris, is he aware of it? He is not, but I'm sure he'll get over there and scout it here shortly. But Valeris is already starting his owl production, and here again we see that artillery cannon balloon combo. And I think that's really strong, man. And I think it'll continue to be strong post balloon changes, when and if they do come in. And Valeris, I'm worried for Valeris, though. Gentleman might inch his way back into this game, which would be very impressive. I mean, look at that early engagement. That's kind of where the Gentleman lost all his tier 2, and Valeris did not. Valeris needs to get the scout off. Now he sees it. Now he sees how greedy the Gentleman's been. I wonder what his response is going to be. Is he going to be greedy himself? It looks like he wants to make his way over to his third base. Go ahead and match that greed. This is actually a really balanced map, which is cool for this high-level fight. Now, it's favored towards Valeris for a couple reasons. For one, mainly just this high ground position. Favors Valeris pretty significantly. And also the extra campfire. But I think the high ground is more important here than the campfire. And this is kind of cool from Valeris too. Like, he hasn't seen the owls per se, but he's kind of assuming that's eventually where the Gentleman's gonna go, and he's kind of trying to tighten up all these positions here with a lot of defense. And there aren't any owls coming from the Gentleman, but that will still be very effective against the Fox. Now, oh man, if the Gentleman can get away with this, the problem is it's going to be hard for the Gentleman's commander to actually slip through the lines. Maybe if he tries skirting around literally the edges, the entire map, he might be able to get down here. But Gentleman has positioned his Falcons in such a way that if he can somehow get his commander over to this third base, he can fly him right over there and doof upon that base pretty hard. But to be honest, I think Valeris is wrapped up too tight for that. And here we go. Gentleman's going to try that going around the edge strategy. And Valeris isn't expecting this, so it's not like he's going to move his army out of position to take out the commander. If anything, Valeris might pounce on the Gentleman's base. Ooh. Valeris is worried about something. He sold off that arty cannon. Maybe he just doesn't feel like he needs it. Instead, going for more Falcons. Beautiful play here from the Gentleman. Now he's got to get these Falcons out in time. I mean, this is 10 Falcons here. He already lost one to the pigfire. I don't like this rally path. He needs to fix the rally path right now. The Gentleman, no! Oh god, he's gonna get intercepted by the squirrels. But he gets him out! Wow, not a single Falcon went down. Wow. Oh my god, sign my mouse pad, dude. Dude, I can't believe he didn't lose a single Falcon there. I thought for sure the squirrels would get a few. He lost one Falcon to the pigfire, and that was it. Very impressive play from the Gentleman. Nice response from Valeris. I don't think Valeris played poorly right there. There's nothing he could really do about it. He just didn't expect it, you know. It was a nice blindside from the Gentleman, and he got a lot of value for it, man. That third base was fully saturated, and now Valeris is down to no economy. But Valeris is much stronger than the Gentleman is, I feel like. With this defensive position, Valeris doesn't really have to move out. He can retake the space. He can resaturate it up. But it's going to be hard to defend the Gentleman from just doing that again. I guess what Valeris can do is, if he sees the commander trying to pull that move off again, you know, maybe try to kill the commander with his army or something. But he can't really put any defense back here, you know, very easily. Alright, Valeris moving in. But Gentleman actually has a very impressive standing army. Wow, 45 squirrels. Gentleman decides he's got enough. He realizes that artillery cannon's been sold by Valeris. He moves in. And just rolls over the Gentleman, or rolls over Valeris. Valeris is trying to, you know, get back to the defensive line that he's got, but he also can't just sit around and let all of his juicy infrastructure get taken out by the Gentleman, but there's not much he can do. I think Gentleman just wins the game from here. Not to be anticlimactic, but I mean, Valeris has got nothing left, man. You know, I was real, dude, that Falcon play was so good. I didn't think it would, like, I knew it would be really impactful, but I didn't think it would be that impactful. Like, just dropping Valeris down to no economy. And since Valeris invested so much in that static defense, and Gentleman still found a way to get, like, the whole point of all that static D that Valeris made, Valeris was saying, I'm going to have a weaker standing army for a while, but I'm going to get, I'm going to be safe. And Gentleman, even with all that massive investment in static defense, Gentleman found a way to get back there and do crippling economic damage. I like that move from Valeris there. He tried the base race. He almost got away with it. But Gentleman comes back in time to defend. Almost is a strong word, but, you know. Bleh, bleh. Alright, Gentleman moving in again. And Valeris just simply doesn't have enough. Like, Falcons are a great counter to Owl, you know. You kind of need a lot, like, really, the Falcon Skunk, like, to be honest, I might steal this build from the Gentleman. Like, it makes perfect sense. You know, Ferret, Fox, plus Balloon or Turret is obviously a great combo, but Falcon Skunk Squirrel is just such an awesome answer to the Owl meta, right? Because the Skunks help deal with all the mice, and obviously the Falcons are fantastic against Owls, as Owls cannot hit up. This is smart by Valeris, though. Every time the Gentleman moves out to try to finish Valeris off, Valeris is slowly knocking out more and more Gristmills of the Gentleman, which is a big deal. Like, Valeris actually could still win this game. It's just gonna come down to positioning. Like I said, man, positioning is so big in Tooth and Tail. And this is rough for the Gentleman because he's been playing whack-a-mole with these Valeris bases for a while now. And Valeris still has so many Gristmills on the map, and he's gonna come in and pounce on this Gristmill. Is he gonna get it? The mice are target firing it down, and Valeris... Wait, what else is... Oh my god, what? What? Dude. What? I wish I could see how... Dude, that had to have been 1 HP. That feels rough for Valeris. Like, I feel like Valeris should have won the game there. I mean, Gentleman totally deserves a win too, don't get me wrong. But man, that was so low. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, obviously the replay timer is censored for you, but it's not for me. And that's why I was like, does he have something else on the map? Because I was so confident that that Gristmill was gonna die. The replay is still lasting a little bit longer. It's so low, man. Dude, this is rough for the Gentleman. Like, he can't keep this up. He can't keep losing Gristmills. He doesn't have the money. Valeris, like, I don't know who I'm more impressed with this game. Like, I thought for sure Valeris was dead. But this is a really dangerous situation for the Gentleman. That's a smart play. Just move out with the ferrets and try to get some work done. But, dude, Valeris' mice have got to get him this time, right? 5 owls worth of mice are just going to take it down. Wow, that was an incredible match. That was fantastic. What a great match to end the night on, guys. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with me on Tooth and Tail TV, The Feast, episode 59 on the Tuesday night, man. I hope everybody had a good time. I did a lot of extra replays tonight. We did 20 instead of 12. I had a good time, man. So, I appreciate it, guys. I will see y'all on Thursday night. I'm going to give my wife the host, so let's go say hi to her. She normally stops streaming at this time, so she might be, like, wrapping up her stream, and then I'm going to host her. But yeah, guys, it was a lot of fun, man. I actually really had a good time tonight. I had fun chatting with you guys and casting these games, so looking forward to doing it again on Thursday night. Until then, take care, everybody, and I'll see y'all soon.